Hello, everybody, and welcome to ProJuice Live. Thank you so much for joining
Let's
us.
rock and ride!
Everything.
Hello.
It's fun to be here, and we hope
Real high energy start.
Yeah,
you enjoy it.
It's fun. It's fun to be here.
How's everybody doing?
I'm feeling pretty short. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just.
Well, you are, Tom. You're lesser than us. You're inferior. That's how it works.
Now you float above tables.
You have a cup?
Yeah, but now I'm a floaty guy.
Now I am a floaty guy.
What's going on, Shogun? How you doing? Shogun, Mayhem, Olivia, how are you guys?
You
Shogun,
forgot
you see
Katie.
their,
Katie's here as well. Don't forget that.
Okay, well, she's not talking in the chat. How am I supposed to know that?
She said, "When do we get another emote?" Right there, dude.
Okay, well, I don't see that in my thing.
That's fine.
Okay.
Ooh, Shogun's here. Hi,
I
Shogun.
just noticed the picture of me. That's good. That was literally, that picture was used by, God, what's the name of the company? I want to say Xerox, but I'm probably totally wrong. It was some, like, when I was working at the agency, they took those pictures to advertise their cloud storage service.
Look.
Somebody
at
used that to
your
advertise
face.
something?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
You know what? I like hardly knew these people too. They were like, "Hey, can we get you to like, do you want to come this weekend and we need like some models?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then they were like, "All right, give us a creepy face," and that's the face I made. And they were like, "That's perfect choice."
Oh man, you know what that is? That is the picture that you get in the frame when they sell you the new like beautiful thing that your family's gonna go in. You know, that's the one that you want, because that way you actually get that picture out and put in something that's not fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Olivia, sorry to hear. Mayhem, why were you upset? You always got something to complain about, Mayhem. Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh,
Let's hear
boy.
it. Lay it on us.
You're already calling.
Shogun, do you see there's going to be a pretty extensive look at The Last of Us 2 in just a couple of weeks? I believe you said you were interested in that at Tokyo Game Show. Looking forward to that. I don't think we've seen anything since that like weird E3 showing that Sony had like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
was,
one
like,
where it was like
really
super
fucking
gory.
drawn out and really boring. And like they just kept herding people from room to room while they showed like 20 minutes of each game. Anyway, I'm excited to see how that's developed since. It did get pushed back, I believe, to 2020. Is that right?
I mean, we haven't heard about it. We're in September. I mean, nobody said a word about Last of Us 2 for like the better part of a year. So I'd be shocked if it came out this year.
I'm pretty sure they announced a few months ago that it was being delayed. It's pushed back to early 2020, possibly February. It was originally supposed to be in the fall, but I guess they're just giving it a little more time. And also, Death Stranding is like they're pushing that real hard. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't want to cannibalize themselves because I think their audiences are kind of similar.
I think I gotta wait for PS5 for both. I really hope they just run better on PS5 in both cases. I just don't want to buy a PS4 Pro.
Yeah. I mean, I'm using the base PS4, or I'm using the Slim rather, and I haven't had any issues. Not that I don't use it very often, but I played, I played God of War, played Spider-Man. They ran pretty fine.
You're just a sane person.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, I know there's a better visual.
I wouldn't say that.
of this game that exists, so I can't play it until I can play
Both of you
the
have
best version of it.
very big problems.
That's me. Yeah.
That's both of you.
I had a
like, hey.
PS4 Pro pre-ordered, but I had a moment of sanity. You were
See,
like, what,
Jesus.
Alex?
Danny's
No,
like
I'm just
me. He
like,
can't do it.
I'll buy. Yeah, exactly, Mayhem. I'm waiting for the PlayStation 5, but like, if I buy a console, I have the console. You know.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel like I don't want to ever re-buy a console that I already have just because I hear that the graphics are better. But that's just me.
Yeah.
You guys
fuck
are...
the graphics. It's all about frame rate, dude. It's all about...
I pre-ordered that Scorpio when it was announced. I have the Scorpio edition of the One X. I then spent $2,000 on a beautiful 4K TV. I don't regret it. Get a lot of use out of it, but it is incredibly pricey. I will say though that was playing some Gears 5 last night, and it looks fucking incredible
Yeah.
on the One X on the 4K TV.
That's because it actually pushes 60 frames, though. If it was
Yeah.
if they had said, okay, to get 4K we got to go to 30, it would look like shit.
Oh yeah, normally the devs will give you an option if that's something that they have to do.
Yep.
Not all of them do, unfortunately, but I know
They
like when I
us- they
play through The
usually do.
Witcher on the One X, you have the option between 1080 60 or 4K 30.
Yeah, and same with Monster Hunter. Actually, Monster Hunter does the same thing when you play on a 1X. It lets
Oh,
you want to prioritize. I can't even play Monster
Nice.
Hunter on a regular Xbox. It makes me fucking angry. I tried to play a little bit of Monster Hunter Iceborne on Danny's Xbox, and I was just so mad at myself. I didn't bring my 1X.
I'd play Monster Hunter on a fucking calculator if it was possible. I don't know what the hell you guys are on about.
I would argue it's not possible on a regular Xbox One. So
yeah.
it's all about what do you mean by possible?
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, one sec.
It fucking took 10 minutes to load a level, Alex. It was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that's not the console's fault. That's them not optimizing it correctly.
No, that's
isn't
that's the console's fault. It runs. Danny was on a 1X with a solid state drive, and it took him. It was just like playing it on PC, just instantaneous. He was there.
That doesn't come with a solid state, right? He must have opened that up and tossed it in there.
External. He actually is running an external solid
okay.
state drive, and it's still almost as fast as one that's integral inside of your PC. It blazes. But
I
even
won't
a
go that
regular
far
1X
because I'm too cheap. But
well, even a regular 1X, you don't even need that. Honestly,
yeah,
I think that's it's great, but the regular 1X does such a good job. It's so much faster than the old
totally.
X.
Yeah, it was a game changer for me for sure, and I was super happy to have it for games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Gears 4, Gears 5, etc. It makes a big difference if graphical fidelity is something you actually care about.
Load times and frame rates, bro. Load times and frame rates. That's the future.
Totally. Yeah.
Alex, touch me.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to, I guess, right?
A lot of stuff in chat here. Let me catch up on this.
Yeah,
I don't play games because I'm poor and lonely. Olivia, that is the best reason to play games.
Yep.
Although the poor part, I guess, would get in the way, but there are means.
I mean, Olivia, you can get the original Monster Hunter World for basically free right now. I'm sure somebody will give you one if you just ask. And you could play that until you die. And you won't be done. Best thing
Danny,
for being poor and lonely.
You can always get an older system. Also, you can, if you have a PC that is moderately modern. It sounds weird. Something within the last 5 years, you could run most things. Grab Steam. You could also get games for super cheap.
You could buy Granny for a low price.
You
as
could
Katie
buy
points
Granny
out.
for $5. Danny, I urge you to play God of War. Do not wait if you don't have a Pro.
He's
It
waiting.
is just as good. I promise you.
I still have to
Mayhem, I
play
did not
that
get a
game.
haircut. No, I did my hair today though, and I actually gave it time to dry before I left the house and had it destroyed by the wonderful East Coast humidity.
It's so hot. I just got back from Canada. I know you guys know, but it didn't even occur to me to bring a sweater. Like the thought that there's a place in the world that exists right now where somebody would need a sweater. When I walk outside to go check my mail and I'm halfway dead by the time I get back, it's unbelievable.
Florida's always sweater weather, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. Gets real cold down there.
I just assume nobody owns anything besides long sleeve shirts and sweatpants down there.
You just get the slightest jog up to get away from that cloud of mosquitoes, and you just dodge that one alligator, and then you're already sweating so bad you need a fucking IV to replace your fluids. It's unbelievable.
We got a question from the audience. One mini monster says, Tom, why do you live in Florida? It is not a good state.
Well, the best reason to live in Florida is because you hate yourself and you've accepted that you're not a good person. So you want to punish yourself relentlessly with heat and bites and death, the constant fear of death. It hasn't caught me yet. And that's why
whenever Tom gets like really down on himself, he knows that he's always a block away from some sort of animal that could eat him whole.
Yeah, I'm just where I belong.
That's smart location. You know,
Smart thinking. Yeah.
Where you live determines how you live, and you're doing it up. You're doing it.
It's efficient
real well
living.
It's
Tom, what is the best thing about Florida? If you had to say, are you born and raised?
No, I'm born in New York. You know that.
You were born. I didn't know you were born in New York. When did you move down to Florida?
I moved down to Florida when I was like 5.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
But yeah, I spent most of my life down here. But the best thing about living in Florida
we could
is
tell.
that, well, yeah, it's that, you know, nobody judges you that much for not going outside, because why would you? So
that's true. I'd say that's as good a reason as any. So I don't blame you. Tripoli, playing through God of War now, I'm terrible. What part are you up to, Trip?
Don't spoil anything.
Oh, yeah, I guess. A non-spoiler update on where you're at, and also, I guess, get good or something.
There you go. That's the advice that you need to hear.
Put it on easy. Have your kids do it for you. They're probably much better.
Tripoli, if you're available, you're more than welcome to stream you playing it on this stream. I'm sure we'd love to see it.
You want to talk about some games?
Yeah, man, let's do that.
Let's talk about some games.
Sure.
I think that's why we're here.
What do you want to start with, man? There's a lot.
Let's talk about some games on ProJuice Live.
There is a lot to talk about.
Olivia, thank you so much for the host, as per usual.
You big host. Thank you very much, Olivia.
Big one viewer.
And it's just her.
Then it's her, yeah.
That's like a hack. It gets your name up on the screen. I like that. I like the way you're thinking. I like where your head's at.
Hey, but if anybody tunes into her channel, they're now going to be watching us, and they're going to get upset. So we do appreciate it.
Tom, before we went live, you were.
Oh,
the weather isn't the only thing that's fucking heated over there in Florida. You were about to go on a roll here about Astral Chain. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I do. So this is going to be a first impressions discussion. So don't expect any juicies to be laid out here. But let's do some first impressions of the old Astral Chain. And yeah, you got give me some B-roll here, and I'm gonna and I won't have to whip out my genitalia for all to see. That way there's something going on.
I'm very confused about what this game is. If you don't mind starting us off with kind of like a little like intro to it.
Okay, so I've got this bulleted out for us.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Wait. Before we start, the juicies are still broken. I don't know why. I fixed everything, and then it didn't. Like, Mike, you sent me all those screenshots. I put them in, and then they didn't work. So, good stuff. I'm still able to keep track of your juicies, although they aren't coming in at the right amount.
Give these people their juicies, Alex.
But believe me, we're still keeping track. I still have the screenshots. I'm going to make sure that everything is correct before that you guys have to start betting using them. You understand? No riot. Shogun, everyone calm down. Everyone just relax, okay?
Person riot, and like a specific riot.
They won't come into play until you have to bet with them anyway, and until the end of the month. But I'm keeping track of them. Don't worry. Also, Olivia, if you think any of this is scripted at all, you have not been watching our stream. So with that being said,
that is like the biggest compliment.
I know, really. Yeah.
What's the compliment?
She's like, Alex, this messing up the script, trying to remember the line to introduce Tom.
Oh.
There's no line. It's just Tom was mad. I'm trying to get words out of my mouth.
Banana bread.
My mouth hole.
Ew. Okay. Tom, here comes Astral Chain right now.
Banana bread.
Oh, I love banana bread. I can't say the same thing about Astral Chain. All right. So, genre. Clearly, you can see in the footage, third-person action, hack and slash. The thing is, if you look at the pedigree behind the game, I am supposed to love this game. This is a platinum game. Okay, so think Bayonetta, which I never played.
Well,
but
Platinum is the company, not that this is some kind of like a
Oh,
Platinum
yes.
Records kind of a thing.
Oh,
It's
no, yeah.
You got me
Platinum
there.
Company.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So Platinum Games, lauded company. Bayonetta is the one I never played, but Metal Gear Rising is one of my favorites. And,
Really?
And Nier Automata, better known as Nier a Tomato, is also one of my favorites. Love both those games. So
Did you
hard.
play? God, why am I I'm not remembering the name. Alex, you and I played it. Action game for the 360. You're like a robot. You slip and slide around. Oh boy.
Was that a game, or was that what you did with my butthole that one time?
That's both.
I think that was when I met you guys.
I promise. You.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it either.
Continue, Tom. I'll figure it out. Vanquish. That was
Vanquish. Yep.
So like coming in. Oh, Vanquish is a platinum game. Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible. Yeah.
So coming into this, I'm like, all right, yeah, looks great. I'm looking at the art, looking at the gameplay, looking at the style. I'm like, oh my god, this is so me. So anyway, we'll get to why it's not, but we'll give you a little bit more background first. So your whole setup is that humanity's wiped out, right? So like humanity has been relegated to a spaceship. So like all of this is taking place on a spaceship called the Ark. It's what's left of humanity, like trying to escape this cataclysm that destroyed everything. And nobody really fully understands what it is. So you're a member of this like police unit, and you can kind of see that if you look close, that it literally says like police on your vest and stuff like this. So it's kind of like so they did like Sexy Maid last time with Nier a Tomato. So this time it's like sexy police officer. So you know they know their audience.
Yeah.
So you actually can choose between the female and the male character, but you're twins. And what happens is when you make that choice, for some reason the one that you choose turns into silent protagonist, and the other one's the only one who has lines. And silent protagonist fucking kills me. I hate silent protagonist. I think the only time it ever worked was Half-Life, and I know this is sacrilegious, but I think even Half-Life would have been better if Gordon Freeman opened his fucking mouth. I think
it's too late. At this point, it would ruin the series if they did that, I think.
It's almost like a running gag. Well, they're never going to make another one, but, you know, I think silent protagonist is the worst. I think it just sucks. Always sucks. Always makes the game worse. I've never played one where I'm like, yeah, it's great that my character doesn't fucking say anything when people talk to them. Love it. Totally immersed. Not
in a game like this, I think it would have benefited from, from some dialogue here.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It would have. You're right. So that's kind of the setup. So what you end up finding out is like humanity is being destroyed. People are getting sick and they turn into monsters. It's kind of like a zombie plague, and the zombies are killing everybody. Like, oh shit, hate zombies. Yeah. That's the worst. What you actually end up finding out at the very beginning of the game is it's not just that people are turning into zombies. There's actually these like extra dimensional invaders that are specifically targeting humanity. And even on the ship, they're chasing them through time and space, which is kind of a cool setup.
Okay.
And you find out that they're invisible. So there's like, you get into this fight really early on where you're not fighting zombies anymore. There's just these invisible things that are zipping all over the place. You can't hit them. What's going on? And then your dad, so you're twins, so it doesn't matter which one you pick, your dad comes in. And he's actually part of like a SWAT team that is called Neuron. The thing that Neuron does, he's ready to rock and ride.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Rock on!
Is
let's rock and ride.
They've got like it's like the FBI or something like that. It's like a whole agency, but like at the head of it are these folks called the Legiones, and your dad is a Legiones. And what they are, that's
Legiones.
Legiones,
not like Legionnaire. Legiones.
It's literally Legiones.
Okay.
Legionnaire would have sounded better, because I think that's actually a word, but they went with their own noun here.
Yeah.
Legionnaire. Yeah.
So the Legiones is, and it's not like I'm reading words, like it's voice acted, and I just keep hearing Legiones, and I just keep going, oh, why didn't you just say Legionnaire?
You're such a Legiones, Tom.
Yeah. So you got but anyway, it's kind of cool. Like up until this point, I'm still digging it. Like I'm like, all right, this is not bad. Like I like this setup. I like what the guy does. He comes in and he literally takes something you can't see, and he attacks that thing, and then eventually he grants you the vision to see it by giving you one of your own. And what it's called is a legion, and that invisible demon is called a chimera, and it is the thing that's spreading the corruption that's destroying humanity. So now you're granted the ability to see it because you're chained to it, literally at your astral projection, your astral chain is tied to it, and you and it kind of become one. And now you're a Legionis because you're conducting the legion of yourself and these chimeras is what they're called.
Right. Naturally.
So the setup is great, and then because and the thing that's kind of cool is the first couple of fights are just the worst. You're just like, oh my god, this game is the worst fucking thing I've ever played. It is so not fun to hit something with this baton. And then you get your legion, you're like, oh, okay, this is fantastic. It's gonna get better. And then it gets a little better, and you're kind of like, ooh, it's still a little not great. And
a little better in terms of what, like variance in the combat, or
that's what it is. It's kind of like, okay, well, really, at first, just like, oh my god, I can't kill this zombie. Like I'm hitting it for days.
Right.
It's like it's a bullet sponge, but this is an action game, and this is the beginning. So I should just press attack. And at the beginning of an action game, like an action game should always try to make the player feel like they're on this power ride.
Mm-hmm.
And like right from the start, you're like, ooh, I am very not on a power ride. I'm hitting a zombie with a baton, and it's terrible. You get the Legion, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And the first thing that kind of turned me off when we got to gameplay was the Legion does a lot of attacking on its own. And it's so much more powerful than you are. Your best strategy right at the beginning of the game is to just throw it at enemies and let it kill everything in the room, and then go to the next fight. So I was like, well, I'm gonna hate this. And but then there's a moment in the game a little bit further on where all of the Legionis lose their legions, and you go apeshit as one tends to do in an anime story, because this is very Sword Art Online.
I mean, I don't like when people fuck with my Legionis.
So.
Yeah,
that's one thing you don't do. Yeah,
like, you know that trope in an anime where like everybody's literally getting fucked and they're all dying and everything's terrible, but your character is more mad about it than everybody else. So for some reason, they get to reach down and just be fantastic and save everyone. So that moment happens, and your character, and it's funny because you could have picked either of the twins, and it happens to the other twin, who is a better character because they actually talk. So it happens to them, but you're just so special that like blue veins like explode out of the side of your face and your eyes start glowing blue, and then you capture your legion, and then so the game starts to be okay. You're gonna go and it's kind of almost like Mario Brothers setup in the sense that, or Mega Man. It's like I've got to go get each of the legions back, and for some reason I can't give them back to the people they left from. They're just mine now. So like it's like, y'all are fucked. I just get everything now. And they never even bother trying to explain why you can't give them back. But so it starts to get better at that point. Like your baton actually turns into like a lightning sword, and then your moves change and your ability to dodge changes. So everything gets a little bit. So at this point, you've got all the pieces. So that part I like, and then you start to manage your legion, and you're like, okay, it's a little bit fun. Like you're managing their gauge. So there's basically a meter that says how long they can stay out, and as things die, they drop points that let you like keep them out longer. So you're working on that. You control them, like as they take damage, it drains their meter. So like if you see a big hits coming in, you can actually yank on their chain and pull them back. So like get them out of the way of the dodge. Well, basically get them out of the way of the attack.
Yeah.
So you can throw them back, and when you throw them back, they'll do an attack on the way out. So like managing them becomes interesting. You can do a couple other things too. So you can pull them, you can actually hold down the left trigger and then move the right stick, and it will move them. And they move really quickly.
Yeah, I think I just saw that before, right? Yeah.
You'll see a lot of that during Blue's Clues. We're going to talk about Blue's Clues. That's what's on the screen right now, and that's
Blue's
Clues.
Clues.
Things that fucking
He'll get to it.
Fucking kills this game dead for me. I can't stand it.
I had to ask him what the fuck he meant by that too, and then he explained it to me, and I was like, oh boy.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So see what he's doing right there? He's like, he's got to listen to that guy. So he moves his legion over there to like listen to this person to get a clue for Blue. And I'm getting a raging clue right now. So you can move them around during combat, and the thing that's kind of cool is you've got this chain that's connected to you. So like like let's say an enemy's about to do a dash attack, right? That will always get telegraphed. There's like a specific cue, no matter what the enemy is, that they're going to do a dash attack. If you put out the chain and you dodge it, then it's going to clothesline them and fling them across the stage. So that's like one of the cool things you can do. And then another one is like when you've got a group of enemies, you could like route the chain around a bunch of enemies, and then you can pull yourself to your legion. And when you do that, if the chain is wrapped around a bunch of necks, you'll kick all those people in the face on the way to your legion, and you'll like make turns as you go through them.
That sounds really cool.
It is. That part is good.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you kind of do is you can wrap up enemies with the chain. So like if an enemy's about to do a big attack, you can literally throw out your legion, do manual control, and spin the legion around them, and it'll wrap them, and then they'll get chained to the ground. And then
So your enemies are these things that have taken over the planet, or are they people?
So again, they're kind of like these demons from this other dimension.
Okay.
And no other part of humanity has ever even seen them. The only way to visually observe these demons is to have this astral connection to a legion or to a chimera. Then you can see them. But they can affect the real world. They can just kill people without being seen if they want to.
And this is you're like, it takes place on that arc, or does it take place like, do you go down to the planet?
No. Everything that like planet is like long gone, long lost. All of this, what you're seeing, all takes place on a spaceship. So like when you look up and you see the sun, it's not the sun. It's just a projection like in the sky, making it look like the sun. You are on a ship called the Ark the whole time.
Okay.
She's playing. This was actually the only puzzle in the game that was good. I actually had a little tiny bit of fun with this particular thing that's on the screen right now. Every other puzzle has not been good.
What's the loop like in terms of like? So you're doing combat. You're finding clues. What are you finding clues to do? Like what are?
Well, we didn't get to Blue's Clues yet. I'm still talking about gameplay when it's good, but I'm going to get to that.
Sorry.
I know you're just like fixated. What does he mean by Blue's Clues? And why is there so much not killing demons on the screen right now? I understand, Mike. Well, I promise we'll get there. It's so bad. I'm trying to give the game. I'm trying to give it the good points first before I get into what this misery is.
That's a business tactic. We're on it. We're on board.
And then the last thing that's really cool are the sync attacks, right? So like, and sync, I mean synchronization. You're not literally hitting people with syncs.
Gotcha. Not kitchen combat. Okay.
No, non-kitchen combat. And it's cool. Like with certain combos, like you'll get to a point where the game will flash and it'll give you an opportunity to call your legion, and you'll both do an attack in synchronization. Or when you do if you get hit a certain way and it sends you flying, you'll get a very brief frame where you can like call your legion and they'll come catch you and throw you back at the monster. Really cool stuff like that. And then right out of Metal Gear Rising, you will eventually get to a point where once an enemy's worn down and it's about to die, you'll get a very brief opportunity to send your legion at them to rip out their core and crush it to give you all your health back. And that was actually one of the things that I liked the most about Metal Gear Rising, was like slicing somebody open and ripping out their spine and drinking their spine juice. It was a little bit more graphic in Metal Gear Rising, but it's because
you're a serial killer.
Yeah. That's your favorite part. We get it. Yep.
It was so good. It was so good. Metal Gear Rising, so good. This game just makes me want to go play Metal Gear Rising.
Okay. Sounds like it makes you want to go do something else, but that's fine.
But anyway, so what I was gonna say, so I played the game for about 8 hours. There's a lot of potential because a lot of what I described, it sounds fun, it looks fun. It's a lot of potential. 8 hours, 3 legions I've unlocked, been trying them all, did all the tutorials, and the game just isn't clicking for me because of the things we're gonna talk about now, Blue's Clues. So this game is so heavily an RPG. Like out of those 8 hours that I spent playing, I would say at least an hour and a half was spent in tutorials, just like trying to understand like the way the game works. So many cutscenes that are not well voice acted, and then so much of what you're seeing on the screen right now, and you'll never see this in the marketing, just like how long she's sitting here talking to these 5 kids. And I actually pointed this and say this was probably the most fun part of having to walk around and talk to people that I've experienced in this game. The reason that I liken it to Blue's Clues is because the game kind of casts you in the role of detective. So it says, oh, okay, So you drop onto a planet. They're like, hey, and this is gonna sound like I'm being dumb. They're like, but bear with me. It's not me. It's the game. It's like, hey, so this blonde chick, her name is Jean, and she's the worst. She's doing all sorts of bad stuff, and you need to go stop her. Okay, I get my sword ready. Time to go slap a bitch with a sword. Sounds good. You drop down, and instead of going after her with a sword, you're talking to people for about a half an hour on the street, trying to figure out who you're chasing. It's like, well, no, you already told me it was Jean, and I need to go after her. Am I trying to find out where she went? Am I trying to find out how to defeat her? What her weaknesses are? What her abilities are? Like, what am I learning anything here? And then literally it's like half an hour of walking around talking to people, gathering clues, and then at the end you get a pop quiz. And it's like, okay, well, so everybody here saying weird stuff's happening, and they all seem to think it's about what? And then you click a blonde woman. Right.
No fucking
Yay!
way. No way.
And I'm like,
Are there like painfully easy questions like that?
that's every fucking question.
Oh my god.
They're all like that. It is like playing the preschool television show Blue's Clues. And I can't take credit for that. I watched the Girlfriend review. For those who don't know, Girlfriend Reviews are a fantastic YouTube
Yeah, I've seen a
channel.
couple of those, yeah.
And she did one on this, and she's the one who said Blue's Clues. I'm like, you are absolutely, you fucking nailed it. This is, it. The game is so it's like 33% tutorial, 50% Blue's Clues, and then what's left, you actually get to go fight something.
Oof.
Right.
It's so much not having fun. It's just obnoxious, and I can't stand it. The voice acting is not good. The story is not great. The characters aren't interesting. I just don't give a shit. And I don't want to spend 30 minutes running around talking to a bunch of people in a fucking town. All I want to do is go slap around some fucking outer space interdimensional demons. And then when I get to the point where I slap them around, it feels a little bit like button mashing. And I think that's like the death knell for an action game, is for me to feel like button mashing is effective.
Yeah.
If button mashing works and I don't have a reason to not button mash. So like that's the way that this works. When you make an action game, you will die. The game is not good if button mashing works and you don't give me a really good reason to not do it.
Right.
So you've got to do one or the other. Either it doesn't work and the game is hard, or it's really, you're not going to level up as fast, or it's just like really flashy and fun and exciting to not do it. But there's so many RPG mechanics that are like holding down your progression to like level up your legions, to just unlock abilities and moves. And like you can only level up your weapons in between missions, and sometimes I forget because I'm just so like, I just want to get out of the fucking police station and be stabbing things again.
Yeah.
It just
So these in between parts where there's no combat, that's just like, it sounds like they're like painfully dull, and that's why you just want to keep fighting things. But
yeah, and you
want
to
get there. It just seems kind of disappointing.
I've never skipped cutscenes on a first playthrough in a video game until I played Astral Chain. This is the first game that I just couldn't fucking stand it, and I just skipped cutscenes because I'm just like,
yeah,
we gotta go. I need.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that's real frustrating. But
music's good.
It always is, you know. Music in video games is absolutely fantastic, but it never saves anything.
Yeah.
Music's good. Cutscenes are fucking unbelievable, but like just like it's so funny because I feel like in Destiny, I remember thinking, man, if they would just put some more cutscenes behind these missions, like this would be more interesting. And then this game, I'm like, no, enough, stop. No more cutscenes.
Do you feel like I don't know? I feel. Is it because of the lines? Like before, you were talking about how the voice acting isn't even the problem. It's just that the lines, like the script and dialogue, are very poorly written.
You know what's kind of funny is there are some parallels to be drawn to my criticism against Control last week when we were talking about this. This is the same thing. It's like Like, I like the world that you've set up.
Right.
I kind of like your ability to tell a story in it, but it's a little worse here because like they're not even really touching on a story yet. Like, I don't even know who the bad guy really is. I guess it's this blonde chick. I don't know. She stabs one of the twins in the chest. It's really dramatic, but no big deal. He recovers. It's just like I don't get it. It's not really exciting, the story that they're trying to tell, and then the lines are delivered so poorly. Well, no, they're not delivered. They're written so poorly. I meant to say written. Just people are just it's like a anime dub from the 90s is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Does this game have any sort of like what's something unique that this game does in terms of what makes this a platinum game?
So I think that there are the reason that I don't want to put juicies on this is because, and we all know how important, how critical that is to the
Yeah,
success.
obviously. I mean, I'm about to be crucified over here.
The reason that I'm saying this is first impressions is because there are people who've got like 70, 80, 100 hours into the game and they really like it. And I feel like maybe I'm desperately scraping through to try to find that moment where it clicks. I really, really want it to click.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all going to be about the combat. Platinum games are about stabbing stuff. And you stab stuff really well, and then you do real fancy bullshit while you do it. But, the thing that kind of killed me the most is, like, when you look at Nier Automata, Nier Tomato, your main defensive option is to just dodge. So, like, when the attack is coming in, you'll do a dodge, and you get this really fantastic, like, slow motion, and then you get invincibility frames, and it's great. And the thing that's really kind of off-putting about Astral Chain, and I guess it's because maybe that's not the way you're supposed to play when you're playing defensively, it's just dodging fucking sucks. Like, it does the same thing that it does in Nier, but there are no iframes. So if you dodge towards an attack or away from an attack that's coming in horizontally, you're just going to get hit by it in slow motion.
Right.
Which is really annoying. And it's like, oh, I got it. Then it's like, no, you didn't. And you get fucking slammed against the wall, and it just feels terrible. And then sometimes you get that dodge, and it's like, no, I'm going to go in for the counterattack, but, oh, it was a combo. And yeah, it's just, defensive options can really make a big difference in an action game. Like, think about Dark Souls, right? Like, in Dark Souls is one of the best action games of all time.
I've never heard of it.
And it's because of how fun and rewarding the defensive options are. Just, slicing people doesn't feel great, but parrying or getting around behind them because you rolled through their attack and just like impaling them on your sword, it feels good. I just need to figure out, where is that moment that feels fantastic in Astral Chain? If I could just find that 10 seconds of really good gameplay that I want to do over and over again. I mean, that's why I've got 600 hours in Monster Hunter World. So I feel like it's there. I feel like the seeds are there. The pieces are in place. Maybe I just haven't unlocked that one move that changes everything, or haven't gotten that one legion, or maybe I feel like I'm close. But the reality is, I'm not going to play the game anymore until I have to go on another trip. I had to fly to Canada, and so I was stuck on a plane with this. And so I played it, the whole way there. Played it while I was there. Played it the whole way back. But if I go again, if I go on another trip, like, I'm gonna want to go bring my Xbox so I can just play Monster Hunter when I'm there. I'd rather watch a movie on the plane, But
you said people have like 70 to 100 hours in this game. How long is this game?
Has an end game, I guess, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, has a bit of an end game. Has a bit of a, you want to go back through and keep going. Like, if you think about Devil May Cry has a whole end game. The whole concept of Devil May Cry is you play through each of the difficulties to unlock the next difficulty, and you kind of get this amazing realization throughout the gameplay that all of these crazy mechanics serve a purpose, and the game is just good on top of good and layered and deep, and it just gets better the more you play it, and the better you get at it, it's just more fun. And I don't want to say that this game doesn't have that, because I haven't put in enough time to be able to really truly say that. But when you first slash an asshole with a sword in Devil May Cry, right from the start, you feel it. You kind of know.
You feel that asshole getting slashed.
Yep.
Swap.
tear that ass apart.
Yeah. And then like I haven't found it in Astral Chain yet. 8 hours in, and I'm just fucking following Lappy around the police station. Lappy is basically
your twin?
Goofy. Lappy is Goofy, so it's like
okay.
the character Goofy from the Walt Disney universe, but
you.
inside is your waifu,
As opposed to the other
anime.
Goofy that we all know.
Yes. Well, I'm out here,
I know. I'm sorry.
and I'm trying. I'm trying to give Astral Chain a chance, man. You got this waifu inside Lappy, and she is the most shameless waifu I've ever seen.
What does it mean to be a
Any
shameless
anime.
waifu?
I don't know why the physics on her breasts have to be different from the physics in everything else in the game. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know why
Good.
they had to specifically come up with an engine to just make those move in that crazy, unrealistic manner that they do.
Yeah.
But they do. So like everybody, she's a lot like your handler in Monster Hunter World, except way more annoying, which is
Okay.
not great because for those who played Monster Hunter World, they know that the handler is a little bit annoying.
It's a bit much. I played a few hours of Monster Hunter World, and she was getting on my nerves.
Yeah, so this is like her times 10, and then just like with massive heaving bosoms that they just defy the laws of physics.
Okay, I can get into that.
Yeah, I might have to play Astral Chain, man.
I'm a big fan of fun bags.
Stop saying fun bags.
It's such a dumb nickname for boobs. It's so dumb.
Tom, can you,
so you like
explain to
you
Olivia
have-
what a waifu is?
Play Astral Chain or Monster Hunter World, and it will be made known to you very quickly.
I'm sure that they use that word a lot. They go, "Where's my waifu?" Right?
But
So do you have like gear? Or are you equipping different
You
gear, or
don't- you
getting
get- you
different
get, like,
stats?
outfits, and you get upgrade points for your weapons, and then you get points to unlock abilities for your legions.
Right.
But not gear per se. And
Okay.
that's kind of, there are whole skill trees on each of your legions, and there's so much in the skill tree that at first I thought you only would ever get one. When I realized that you were going to get 5, I was thinking, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have spent all my points just fleshing out.
Oh,
half
there's
my
like a
skill tree on
collective
the
pool
first
for all that.
Yeah, you just have one resource pool. So,
Gotcha.
but on the bright side, you can pick up litter.
Oh, hey, you
Okay.
can do that in Blair Witch as well.
You can. Oh, that's what it was.
Wow.
Yes, you were. I'm like, who ripped this game to pieces because like there's a weird anti-littering thing and you're supposed to throw shit away. It wasn't this game. It was you.
Okay.
And Blair Witch is good.
It's so. But so overall, like I said, man. By the end, I was actually forcing myself to play the game. I was really not digging it.
Yeah.
I don't care about the story. The gameplay didn't click, and I go back to, I don't know if I said this on the show to Alex, but like when I watch, I will look up skill videos for Devil May Cry, and I'll sit back and I'll be like, whoa, this is awesome. Like that guy is amazing. That looks so fun. Like I can see the skill and the technique in what he's doing. It's such a shame that this is just a single player game and it doesn't even really, like, there's nothing he can do outside of just show me how amazing he is right now in this YouTube video.
Right.
I wish he could do more with that in his life because it's so impressive to watch. And then I watched that in Astral Chain, and granted the game hasn't been out that long, but it looks like button mashing. And it's not impressive. So
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've read a bit about some of the critic impressions so far, and I saw they were like generally positive, but it seems like over time the game starts to really wear out its welcome.
Yep. Yeah, I would say it's not a bad game. Like I'm not gonna say don't play it, but definitely like usually I'm the kind of person who would always say if it's not worth $60, it's not worth playing. That's almost always where I stand. But
Interesting. Yeah.
But I feel like this game, if you found it in the bargain bin, it's worth playing. But I wouldn't spend $60 on it.
Bargain bin, like what? Like $20, $30,
20
less, $20. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. All right. Well, I don't
and you
feel
gotta-
like I feel a little less overwhelmed. The beginning of this month, sorry, the end of last month was like super stacked, and this was one of the games that I was upset that I missed. So I feel better about not having played it.
Hey man, you might love it. I don't know. You might just play this and just think, man, I love.
What is happening? What are you people doing? Who cursed the stream? They're frozen. Look at them. All right, well, clearly technical. I'm literally not touching anything. Discord just keeps blacking out. So I don't know what the hell.
Astral Chain.
Hold for a minute. Alex is figuring out how to work a computer.
Discord just keeps going black and then coming back. So I don't know.
Good.
Oh,
Nice.
it looks
I'm
fine.
literally not touching anything.
Looks fine on the stream.
No, it doesn't. Everyone's laughing and saying, "Where are they going?" Because you guys are just fading away into nothingness.
Oh,
No,
maybe
looks
we're
like we're
going to
back
the
now.
astral plane. Not to be confused with the astral chain.
Okay,
All right,
and
so
that's
Tom,
a wrap
Tom
on
recommends
Tom.
this game with his whole heart, and everyone should go out and buy it for the most expensive price they could find. Basically,
Yeah.
the-
Most expensive price.
Ask when you take it to the counter at the store. Say, I understand MSRP is $59.99 plus tax, but I'd really prefer if you could just charge me $99.99.
Exactly.
All right,
Email?
well that sounds good.
All right. Well, Astral Chain.
Astral Chain.
First impressions.
We don't like it. The whole time we've been talking, has this guy killed anybody? No.
I don't think so. He's just been like trying. He was trying to get on a ledge for like 20 minutes while you were talking. He was
Yes.
like whipping. He was like throwing a whip and then going to the other end of the whip. Yeah, like that. And
I did all of
he was
this.
trying to do that for
I did
quite a while.
everything that he's doing. I did everything that he's
Oh,
doing.
good. Oh, perfect. Now
I
he
did,
has
and
to
I
go
fell
all
just
the way
like he just did. Fuck.
Is this you, dude?
No, because he's playing the male character. Who would do that?
Weirdos.
Yeah, weirdos.
So weird.
All right,
All right, well,
say bye.
Astral Chain.
This
Blue's
Katie,
Clues
this
the
game
game.
looks bad.
Blues Clues the game.
Okay.
Astral Clues.
Astral Clues.
Very good.
What's next on the docket? What do we got, Alex?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's jump to you. Let's jump to you. We'll come back to me.
Yeah, Mike. What do you got?
Okay. Okay. I played a few things.
Yeah, what do you want to start with, man?
Let's since we're doing early impressions before we dive deep into certain things. I played a little bit of Gears 5.
Okay.
Ooh,
Um,
that looks
Gears
good.
5 released on Game Pass at the end of last week. I believe it was Friday last week. Sorry, excuse me one moment. Okay, great. My wire on my headset keeps getting loose. I'm actually just gonna.
Wow,
All right.
look at you.
So I played Gears 5. I played Gears 5. Gears 5, fifth entry in the Gears series, if you couldn't tell by the name of it. Actually, sorry, the sixth entry outside of Judgment.
Well, you're
Um,
forgetting Gears of War pops as well, so this would be the
Oh,
seventh.
yeah, Gears Pop. Right. Very, very integral to the canon.
Yeah.
Can I just say really quickly how much I love how in this trailer for the campaign they showed the guy whose face doesn't get shown dying.
Yeah.
Like that's such a great callback. Wait, what? That's a Terminator?
Carmine. Yeah. There's they have a promotion with the new Terminator movie, so there's some skins that you can get from multiplayer. I think anybody who
Carmine,
plays
there
within
you go.
like the first week gets it gets it free. So this game is well, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, if you're not familiar with Gears, it's a third-person cover shooter. Very they're toning back the overkill masculinity of that the series has used to be known for, just a little bit, but you're still playing, guys and gals in beefy armor with chainsaw machine guns, and you're ripping apart aliens. That's the crux of the series.
You said that while a guy was using a Gatling gun to grind somebody's face into the ground while
Yeah.
shooting them, killing
Oh yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I don't know if they're cutting back that much. That looks
Well,
fantastic.
it's less about like bros killing aliens, and now they're trying to focus a little bit more on the characters than just
that's
having like this all out mindless shooting of aliens as you usually do.
That
So
looks
Gears
fantastic.
5 takes place pretty much right after Gears 4. Something I appreciated that they do in this is there are two options when you go to campaign, and you could watch two videos that they put together. One of them is called State of the Universe, and one of them is Previously On. Previously On recaps the events of Gears 4, so you're caught up on the story, on the new story, pretty much. After Gears 3, they started a new. I don't know. They jumped ahead a little bit, and you have some new main characters now. Marcus Phoenix's son is now the front and center, along with his buds JD and Kate. So if you watch Previously On, it recaps Gears 4. State of the Universe takes you through all of the games so far and catches you up on the story. So obviously this game has been. When did Gears 1 came out? What, 2007, 2008? It's been maybe 2009. I don't know. It's been quite a while. And a lot has happened over the course of the last 4 or 5 games. So they put together this nice little package that kind of just sums up everything really quickly in 5 to 6 minutes. And, complete with cutscenes and little gameplay clips and whatnot, and a narrator just pretty much telling you what happened from beginning to now.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah.
This is on Game Pass, right? So anybody
This is on Game
Yes.
Pass. Launched on Game Pass, yeah. It launched on Game Pass for PC and Xbox. Got some crossplay, yada yada, the whole 9 yards.
Would you buy it?
I played it on my One X. So before I jump into the gameplay, that's another thing, as I was saying earlier. This game is, Gears 4 was fucking stunning. Gears 1 was like a technical showpiece as well.
Mm-hmm.
The series has kind of continued being that through its whole lifespan, just really pushing the boundaries of what the hardware is capable of. And this game is like jaw-droppingly beautiful. Again, I'm playing it on a very ideal setting. I'm playing it on a 1X with a 4K TV, HDR capable. Like, it does not disappoint in that department. Everything from the lighting to just the lighting to the textures to the detail that they put into the environment, like and the physics and the set pieces that they have in the first act alone. When I said early impressions, I just played through the first act. Usually they have like a 5 or 6 act campaign. So, but like there's a lot more focus on set pieces now. Like walking through these crumbling environments, things are falling apart around you. The first 4 games had that as well, but it almost like feels more realized now that all these elements are really coming together.
It almost looks like Last of Us. Like it looks better.
Yeah,
and
it kinda does,
in the last game they got away from the super brown gray color palette. They brought you into more. It's a little bit in the future. The Locust. Spoiler for Gears 4 here, though it's been quite a bit. So, the Locusts are gone, but oh wait, no, they're not. But they're gone. So like humanity has started to rebuild settlements on the planet, on Serra. So you have these beautiful cities, beautiful big cities. There's now like robots that are all different colors. There's green, there's trees, there's everything. It looks really nice. It's a lot more visually appealing. The game can't be too different. It's exactly what you expect from a Gears game.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be too different. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fucking Gears.
Yeah,
But
I think
looks
that's fine with a franchise like this, where they don't try to do anything that's too different.
Totally,
because I feel like their entire player base is very locked in with how the game actually works.
They want to play Gears.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is the cover shooter.
Yes,
it's like
right. Yeah,
you think about a cover shooter. This really popularized it. It wasn't the first, but it's definitely like one of the biggest mainstream ones.
Yes.
But it looks like such a good Gears game.
Oh, totally. It controls incredibly well. Before when Gears 4 came out, I ran through all the Gears. I went through 1, 2, 3, Judgment, 4. So now up to this one, there's a noticeable improvement in the way the game controls and feels and moves. The flow of the game is much more smooth, compared to years past. They do some interesting things to evolve the gameplay in a little bit. In Gears 4, you have this little robot companion that kind of follows you around and opens doors, or it's pretty meaningless. It just kind of is used, or like it'll be opening a door and it's like, all right, protect the robot while it opens the door, things like that. So now it becomes a more integral part of the combat. You're seeing now there's an upgrade tree for it. and you can command the robot to do different things, such as shock people out of cover. That was one of the things in Gears past is you would just be like, it's just trading shots. You're both in cover. You're in cover. The AI's in cover. You're waiting for them to pop up, and then you pop up, take some shots, and go back down. And when your health is getting low, now you can send your robot over to them, and this is a trait you can upgrade, and it's called Flash. You can command him to go over and flash them, and they get stunned and they come out of cover. And it keeps the pace of the game going in a way that it wasn't really interrupted by before. But you almost didn't realize that you wanted this. You almost didn't realize that you wanted to just keep murdering these aliens uninterrupted.
I feel like that's a really important thing with cover shooters too, because I've played Division 1 and 2, and that's always something that I was like, I need these people to come out of cover because I'm sitting here for fucking 5 minutes waiting for a head to pop, because I know if I run at them, I'm going to be in trouble, but I have to just sit and wait.
Yeah. So. They added certain things into Gears over the years. I feel like I keep rhyming. They added certain things into it where like you could run up to their cover and tap a button, and you reach over, pull them, and kill them. Like they added certain things like that, so you can be a lot more aggressive. Mm-hmm. But this lets you have that like play style that the series is meant to have, that really it pushes you into, while also not interrupting the combat where you're like, okay, when are you gonna pop? When are you gonna pop? When are you gonna pop?
Prevents that boring moment never even happens. It would never even occur to somebody to sit and wait because you've got an option to just keep the fight moving.
That's good stuff.
And it's just a moment, it's just a moment to where like it never really was like, man, I fucking hate Gears because of this. Yeah. But like, because it's so quick, and sometimes you're like, I don't know about you guys, but I get fixated if I'm like, that's the enemy I want to kill. And I'll be like, I will wait for him to pop his head up before I look at other enemies that are just in plain sight,
That's what I'm talking
about.
Like,
you can just, you focus on something, and then you can send, I think it's the robot's name is like Dave. You send Dave over, he shocks him out. And if there's a bunch of enemies near each other, it'll shock all of them. And you just pop up and you just unload on them. And it works really well, and it doesn't cheapen the experience. You don't feel like, okay, well, this is too easy, because they're smart. So far in the first act, they're smart about how the AI is smart and how they're approaching you. So there's never like all three people. I mean, unless you're in a small place. But so far, I've been in like pretty expansive battlefields. There's never just like four guys right in front of you, all grouped up, to where you're going to shock all of them, and that's that. There's going to be one guy there. There's going to be one guy all the way like on a roof to your right. There's going to be one guy trying to like rush you. They're going to be coming at you and trying to take you down in really smart ways that I've seen so far. So it keeps it interesting, especially with at this point in the series, the enemy variety is like you're constantly like, they're constantly throwing new enemies at you. You're fighting what they're calling the Swarm. Ever since the last one, it's now the Swarm, and they're like almost like a mutated locust. So you're like, but they have locust, they have lambent, they have the Swarm, and each of them have different units, and the units do different things. So like you're always kind of on your toes. You're not like, okay, I'm fighting these same grunts over and over and over again. They kind of just like keep revealing these new enemy types to just throw at you and change up how you have been becoming comfortable approaching all these situations.
That sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
So you find these little upgrade cores throughout. It has a little bit of like a tiny little bit of looting, and I'm kind of hesitant to use that word, but like scattered around the levels are these things called, I believe they're called cores, and you use those cores to put upgrades into your robot, and it lets you respec at any time. As far as I could tell, the respecking is free. You could just be like, okay, I'm not really using Flash that much, so it doesn't like really shoehorn you into that if you were like, oh, Flash is awesome, because it's the first thing you get. Like you start off with what they call Pulse as well, which just shoots out a pulse and it highlights things, enemies in the environment. You could upgrade it to highlight weapons and ammo and yada yada yada. But Flash is like the real first combat utility that you get. So if you dump a lot of points into it because they're cheaper, and that's kind of like what you're using a lot, and you realize, in Act 2 or Act 3, you're like, I'm not really using Flash very much. You can just respec. It doesn't lock you into it, which is
cool.
Also great.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. I wrote down some stuff here.
Oh my fucking god, dude.
What?
Heck, come on.
What? You okay?
Yeah, I'm being an idiot.
Oh! I thought something actually happened.
No, Alex is just like, fuck you for being prepared.
So the game is like incredibly meaty in that
They
this
always
game
are.
is fucking packed with content. Like
Oh, I thought you were gonna
you
say
have
meat,
4.
head
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah, I thought you meant like
No,
impact,
I mean
but
like
yeah, okay.
there's a lot
look
of
at his head!
game. There's a lot of game in here. There's 4. So there's 4 main modes. You know, think of like when you like Call of Duty releases now are usually in 3 parts. It's besides Black Ops 4, it's campaign, zombies, multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Usually they have different like menus. Like you just click on one in this hub menu and it brings you to a whole new UI and options you can choose from. So this game is Versus, which is online multiplayer, which they've expanded a little bit now to have a more casual. There's a casual playlist option. So some issues they were having. I was listening to the head of Coalitions, Rod Ferguson, one of the game directors. He was saying an issue that they're facing with Gears is onboarding people to the multiplayer, because basically like you might jump into a multiplayer match and then somebody's just like sprinting towards you, kind of like cover dodging all the way over to you, because you can get into like a good flow where it's like really hard to hit somebody when they're just jumping around cover, and then they'll get over to you, shoot you with the Nasher, which is the shotgun, you explode, and you're like, what? And then somebody else comes over, tags you with the grenade, rolls away, you blow up. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
Gears. That sounds like Gears 1.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna stop. This is like, I don't know how to get into this. So they wanted a more casual playlist. So they started with arcade, where you go in with loadouts, and they're testing that out. And they're very upfront. A lot of games are like this now. It's a big trend you're seeing. They're very upfront. There's a message on the game that you can go to. This is a message from the devs, basically saying we want to please give us your feedback. We want to change this game based upon how you guys are playing and what you're experiencing with it and the problems you're facing. We want to make it a better experience for the players. So they're trying out these new things and tweaking as they go to see if they can really hit the nail on the head.
They dug their own grave, though.
With the multiplayer?
Because anyone who played Gears of War probably remembers you were an achievement guy. They asked you to get 10 million kills or something in.
Oh yeah, the seriously achievement. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and so some people
That's
got
across
that.
all the modes. Yeah.
Some people did that.
For sure.
And, they're still alive.
Yeah, I mean that
I made that problem.
I don't know if there's I actually didn't look through the achievement list because it's been quite a bit since I played a game on my Xbox. So, but I'll see if there's. I know seriously was an achievement in all the entries in the series, so I'm sure it's here as well. It's become like a running joke of like this like ridiculous hardcore achievement in the game.
But there are just people like, to your point earlier though, there's people who are so good at Gears because they've been playing for so long and they've been getting that achievement in every game. How do you make a game mode for the new guy to come in and not experience what you just described?
Yeah.
When that gameplay loop that you just laid out was effective in the first Gears, I remember killing people that way by just popping cover to cover. And
people were doing that in
grenade,
Gears 4, Tom. I was playing.
It's something that that's why like they tried to approach that problem head on. They don't want know the game launched in an interesting position in that it's launching on Game Pass. There are suddenly, I don't know the numbers for Game Pass, but let's say 1 million. I'm going to say millions. I'm assuming, there's suddenly midnight on release day, millions of people will have access to your game. Whether they wanted it or not, they will have access to it. And a lot of those people will go, oh, I've heard a lot about this series. It looks really good. Let me give it a shot. So they had to figure out a way to deal with these new players that maybe before they were like, I don't know if that's my cup of tea. I'm not going to spend $60 on it. Now there's no reason not to give it a try,
And players who think about what you were just saying, and like to me, playing Gears multiplayer sounds so intimidating. I wouldn't even bother trying.
For sure,
so
yeah.
I'm really excited about the idea that there's some casual playlists that maybe go into, and there are restrictions in the way the game is played that make it so that the guys who have those achievements aren't just gonna fucking steamroll me. I'll get a chance to play the game.
Yeah,
sounds
yeah, of
good.
course.
Like,
I'm gonna put.
It's really exciting that they're trying that.
Yeah, totally. And it's nice to see that they're approaching it head on, and they're like, where do we go from here? Is this working? No. How do we tweak it? You tell us. We're observing. We're not just like letting you do our job for us, but you kind of like tell us what's working and what's not, as the people who are the players who are having this hands-on experience. So I'm gonna give the verses a run through tonight, but I unfortunately have only played a few hours of it, and all of it was in campaign. So besides campaign, there's a full campaign. There's the versus mode, which is as packed as it's ever been. There's the new escape mode, which is the newest thing they introduced to the series, which is a 3-player cooperative experience, not unlike Left 4 Dead, where you start out deep into a hive, deep in one of these like a swarm hives, and you plant a bomb, and you have to escape before the bomb goes off. All the while, swarm are just all over the place. In the game,
cool.
and I looked in the menu for there because I wanted to see if I could play with bots. I didn't feel like jumping into a multiplayer match at like 1 a.m., but unfortunately I couldn't. But there's like I think 7 or 8 levels of difficulty in escape, and each of them ramp it up in one way or another. Either it's like I went all the way to the other end. I think it was called Insane or something like that, and that's like enemy health times 5, or like, and then each one has like a different. It's almost like Ascensions in Slay the Spire. It's like each one adds a new layer on top of it. Like these enemies are more deadly. These enemies, have more health, or these enemies do more damage. And it just kind of like builds and builds and builds. So you can kind of like almost custom tailor your difficulty based upon the skill level you feel like you're at. It's not just easy, medium, hard. I'm really excited to give that a go. I really would like to do that with you guys, and I believe we all like Game Pass.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
and like I said, there's crossplay between PC and Xbox, I believe, for all of these cooperative modes. So
Ooh, that'd be
I don't
cool.
think it
Someone else
matters
to
what
play it
system
on
you
PC
use it on. What's the other mode? Oh, the Horde mode. So the Horde mode is revamped in this one. I think they introduced this in Gears 2. 5 players. It's just I think they were the series that popularized the Horde mode. 5 players. You just go through rounds of just relentless enemy assaults, and each round ramps up the difficulty, whether it's the number of enemies, the types of enemies, etc. Now they, I think in Gears 4 they introduced classes.
Yeah.
In Gears 5 they're continuing that, so you can really specialize your role. And there's a whole card system. I don't know if that was in Gears 4. There's a whole card system that kind of like interacts with how the Horde mode is playing out, and kind of upgrade your experience that way.
Yeah, that was in Gears 4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost like I was looking at this and I was like, holy shit. Like, I really want to try the Horde mode. I really want to try Escape. I want to give Versus a go. I'm upset there's no Wingman still. And I'm always a fan of the campaign. I actually really enjoy the Gears campaigns just for what they are. There's these like ridiculous action set pieces of just it's just fucking brutal, dude. Like, no, I feel honestly to this day I have not had an experience like that gave me that same visceral reaction to using the Lancer to chainsaw something in half, like an enemy in half. It's just something like doing that. You're like, I think I played Gears 1 when I was like 14 or something, when I was young, and it was like, you're like, oh, it's fucking cool, sick. And it's just like, it's still like that, It's still like,
you're tasting
feels
hot.
so
14-year-old
good to
Mike.
do that. It still feels so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, and there's nothing like just blind shotting with a Nasher head on and just seeing them explode into pieces, and just the gore like all over, and you're like, yeah. I mean, like half the time I miss those shots, but when it lands, it feels so good. Sometimes you like string together 4 or 5 of those, and you can do that in multiplayer, and you're just like, you feel unstoppable.
Dude, in the multiplayer, when you're using a Nasher and you get that perfect reload so your damage increases, and you just roll up behind someone and boom, and they just fucking explode, you're like, what are you gonna do, bitch?
Yeah, and the sound, they're like,
yeah, and your
and
blood gets covered on your
hitting
screen,
the ground.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's another thing too. They like, and I know this is kind of like almost something you expect and don't even realize now, but the way they like the environment interacts with your screen, whether you're in a smoky area and it fogs the screen a little bit, or you're near water and water droplets are on the screen, or blood on the screen, things like that. I don't know. I feel like it really helps just like round out this whole experience, and it's like really immersive as a third-person shooter in a way that third-person game, like first-person games have an easier time being immersive because you feel like you're in the shoes. But as far as third-person games go, like RPGs can get really immersive. I've never played a third-person, to my knowledge, I can't remember a third-person shooter that I've played where I really like got into it and like didn't realize the time was passing because you're just like, it's just the gameplay loop is so satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah.
Yep,
I get what you mean.
Have you played a game called Fortnite?
I actually have never played a round of Fortnite.
Well, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, I've never tried it. I don't know why. I'm not opposed to it. I just like I looked at Fortnite and I was like, I could give or take.
Fortnite, more like
Whatever.
Fartnite, right?
Right, man, dude.
Yeah, Fortnite. There you go. Very good, man.
Yeah, that's. I'm excited to get deeper into it. I'm gonna play a bit more tonight after the show, but so far, really, really positive impressions.
It looks
If you were tired of Gears before this probably won't change your mind. It seems like they're trying to have a little more character-focused story, and so far in the first act, they feel like they have accomplished that. There's a lot more character moments throughout the levels, in between the levels. Like I had a whole act where I was just going through one of the government buildings. You come back from your first mission, and it was like an unauthorized mission. You were kind of just, your group of people were doing it to get an edge, but it wasn't given the green light. So when you get back, obviously your superiors are angry. But like that whole act was just like going through the government building, getting a little feel for civilian life in this new world. I don't know. It was nice break from just jumping from cover to cover and blowing apart aliens.
nice.
We were talking last week about games where it's like I didn't need a break. Gears, it's a welcome change of pace where you're like, all right, let's get back into it. And it throws you right back into it. It does not waste any time. At least in that transition, it wasted no time.
Gears has always done a very good job of world building, though. Like even back to the beginning.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so you kind of want that.
Totally. Yeah.
I was actually just thinking about when Dom dies, and
Yeah.
do you guys know what game that's in?
That's in 3.
That's in 3. Like
A couple years
That's
have
like-
you been playing Gears of War 3, right? Or what the hell?
Yeah, man.
I distinctly remember that though. Like it was such a great moment, and it was like
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
Like I didn't even realize that like one, I cared this much about these characters, but I was like super sad, and two, like they like sometimes they just want to kill a character to get a reaction out of you, and they'll create a situation that's just like so like there's you can think of so many ways to get out of it. It's
Right.
Like, this is so dumb that this person's sacrificing themselves.
Right.
But like even back then, they showed this incredible awareness of storytelling and world building and character development, and that's before they even got into this place where apparently that's more of a focus now. And to me, that was actually one of the big draws of Gears was those moments. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
looks so good to me.
Yeah, they're
so
bringing it back.
impressed.
There's a character from the last one. Her name's Kate, and her mom, spoiler for Gears 4 once again. Real quick, just a quick sentence, so skip ahead 10 seconds. But her mom dies at the end of the 4th one, and you get this idea that there's going to be something going on with her, and you really get inklings of that like right off the bat in the 5th
You
one.
just ruined it for Mayhem.
She's not sleeping, like there's something going on in her head, and she's like refusing to seek help for it. She's trying to deal with it. So she's going through the whole, she's going through the grief, the loss of her mother and uncle, like her whole family pretty much. She just has her close friends who are like her family now. And, Marcus almost steps in as like a fatherly role for her. I have a feeling Marcus is going to die at the end of this. Remains to be seen.
Oh, really?
I think it's time. I think they're leading up to it.
Oh boy.
And that'll be
It's
a
gotta
really big
happen
moment.
eventually.
Yeah. I mean, but like,
I feel like-
they bring back your old favorites. Baird is in this. He's like a scientist now. Cole, I ran into Cole. He was in one of the missions with me. So
That's awesome.
you get the old favorites in there, but obviously not Dom because he's very dead.
Yeah.
But
just kill him better than you did in Star Wars.
yeah. And they go
Well,
through
that's
like
Star
they
Wars,
give a little bit more background on Marcus's wife Anya and why she died. It was part of well, I won't spoil anything, but they give a little bit more about that. But yeah, again, early impressions, really like super good first impressions. Really excited to get a little bit further into it. If and I think I said this before, but if Gears isn't your cup of tea, this probably won't change your mind. But they added some new experiences that are, PvE based, co-op experiences. So if maybe the competitive aspect of Gears was something that was turning you off, there's plenty to be had on both sides of the coin here. It's really nice.
It looks good.
Yeah,
I absolutely. Sunday is looking like a good day for some maybe all three of us streaming for me. I don't know if it works for you guys, but would love to play some of that co-op mode you were talking about on Sunday. We'll talk about it later.
For sure. Yeah. Besides Gears,
Yeah.
let me jump into some of the shorter things. Wrap up what I've played this week. I play. We'll get into the Nintendo Direct later, but I played a bit of their Super NES online games that they've released. They released a handful.
You played that one really shitty game like that. What was that one?
Super Metroid.
Yes, that's the one.
No, I am really digging Super Metroid. So that was the first one that caught my eye because I'm a huge Metroidvania fan. Love those types of games. Have not played the grandfather of it all, Super Metroid. Figured I'd give it a go. Now's as good a time as any, and I'm really digging it so far. I'm a few hours in. Yes, that's it. It's a mouthful. It's like Mayhem said, Super Nintendo Entertainment System Nintendo Switch Online is the name of is what they're calling. Oh my god,
is that really what it's called?
That's the name of like the app that you open.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Nintendo is not they don't know it sometimes. So if you're familiar with Metroidvania games, Super Metroid needs no introduction. It's exactly what you would expect if you were familiar with those types of games. You go around this big expansive map, hallway to hallway, discovering rooms, picking up power-ups, defeating bosses, killing little enemies here and there. And that's the crux of it. My time with Super Metroid so far has been a little bit frustrating. I'm having some troubles with the controls. To me, they feel a little clunky and dated. And obviously, that part of it is a relic of its time. So I can't be... I'm trying not to be too hard on it because I'm used to more degrees of control when you're playing games. But here you're literally, it's up, down, left, right. Those are you're using a D-pad. And there's a lot of weight to Sabas as you go through. You move a little slow unless you're sprinting. The way you jump is it feels very weighted. I don't know how else to explain it. It feels very weighted, but like too much. I like weight. It gives things it gives a good impact to things. It gives a good feeling to things. It feels a little more real when if things aren't just floaty. It feels less arcadey, But here it almost felt like too much for my liking. Not necessarily in a super bad way, but having spent a few hours with the game so far, I'm already not used to it. So it requires just a little more time in order for me to really get a feel for it and feel comfortable with it, which I guess is both a positive and a negative. It'll really come into itself if I spend a little more time with it, but also at the same time, it's not leaving me with the best impressions in terms of how it controls. Everything else otherwise, like the game doesn't treat you like an idiot, and it doesn't really hold your hand. There's a lot of areas, Tom and I were speaking before the stream, and that there's a lot of areas where you're going to get stuck. I've already gotten stuck quite a few times, and I'm currently at a place that I got stuck and I stopped playing because I was like, I need to put this game down, otherwise it's going to annoy the shit out of me. I did come across one spot where I was going back and forth, and I hit a point where eventually I can't go backwards anymore because I need a certain power-up that I'm supposed to have picked up, and I have no idea where to get that power-up. So I kept going back, hitting that wall, going, okay, it must be in front of me, and like combing every pixel just as I move forward, like, is this something I can break? Is this something to break? It ended up being a piece of floor that I could destroy. That's the art on it didn't indicate that it was any different from the other floor tiles, and I was really frustrated by that. But I will say that it didn't keep so far for me. It didn't keep that up. I've run into instances where I needed to break the floor, the ceiling, or the wall, and you could tell those things looked distinctly different. They weren't super easy to spot unless you were really looking for them. So it doesn't it's not really easy, but it wasn't frustratingly hard to where I was like pulling my hair out and I feel like I really need to like try everything. I need to shoot everything and just see what works.
Right.
But yeah, so far positive impressions, Super Metroid. Looking forward to spending a little more time with it. Tom, I know you said you played this game about a year ago and you played it to completion. Is that right?
I did. There's some crazy asshole in the comments. Don't read the comments, Mike. Don't even fucking look at the comments. Stay the fuck away from the comments.
Okay, I'm scared. Okay.
Okay.
Because you're getting the spoiler. So Mike and I
gotcha.
Mike and I before this we talked a little bit about there's a particular moment in the game where the game gets real shitty on the player, and I just wanted to see Mike's experience of it.
Okay. How far in?
Oh, it's pretty far in. It's pretty far in.
Okay, this is much later.
Danny did mention one thing that is funny that he said is he back then you couldn't just go online, you couldn't just Google. He had to call the Nintendo hotline.
I forgot that was the thing.
That was a thing. He called. He said, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Do this here."
Do you get a person? Like you get a person and they'll help you with whatever game like you're having issues with?
I think
is that how that worked?
I mean, it was 1980 or 90. There's no computer that you're going to get. It's a person.
Right.
Of course. That's the only thing that can give you answers.
This game, the game is punishing. It's brutal. It has everything down to like the checkpoint system. The game's brutal. If you are not careful, you will fuck up and you will lose a significant amount of progress if you were not keeping on top of that.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like I can never play a game like this.
It's very good.
Well, not a game like this because I have played games like this and enjoyed it, but going way back and clunky controls are such a difficult thing for me to overcome. So that would right off the bat, I would be like, okay, I don't really.
I mean, again, I don't want to stress. Sorry, Tom. I want to stress that like, I don't want to rag on the controls too much. I just think they take a certain amount of time to get used to.
Yeah, right.
And it's just not something I like. I don't know. I like in more modern Metroidvania games. I feel like I'm zipping around. I'm even like Symphony of the Night, Shadow Complex, Hollow Knight. Like I feel like I have a quicker flow. There's a quicker pace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm platforming quickly. I'm jumping around enemies. I'm killing enemies. I'm dodging. In Metroid, I'm approaching each encounter. Like even with these guys you see here, these little like things that are just on the ceiling. You have to like approach each one of them carefully until you get really used to it.
Yeah.
Until you can like just look at them and be like, I know how they move, I know how they attack, right? Like without thinking about it, you know? But each one I have to look at them and be like, okay, well, I have to remember how you're gonna move. Some of them are on the ceiling and they jump kind of like halfway down, but they don't go to the floor and they go back to the ceiling. And they're quick. They're like too quick for me to dodge right now. But like you have to like know what your arsenal is. You have to know when to go into ball form, when to sprint away, when to just like shoot something so that you can kill it before it hits you. Like, you know, how many hits is it going to take? It's like, it's a pretty intense game for kind of like what it appears to be, you know? But an advantage of playing it now on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online version is that they have if you press both of the ZL and the RL, you can rewind the game a certain amount of frames. Yeah. So what happened to me at one point was, I don't know, I could have sworn that I saved, but I must have not, and I died, and I was set back like quite a bit, like a half hour. I didn't have any of the 3 power-ups that I picked up. A lot of the map that I had uncovered was just gone, and I was like, oh, like I had a moment, I put the Switch down, and I was like, that's it. My time with Super Metroid's at an end. I don't think I'm going to redo all of that because I don't want to. And then I remembered you could do that, and I was able to just go back to before I died. And I was like, that's the fucking greatest feature. I'm so glad that they put that in there.
That's good stuff. Yep. On a game like this, you gotta help us out.
Yeah, totally. And you know, this is definitely one of the games where that feature shines.
So I was gonna say earlier on the weight and the clunkiness.
Yeah.
The one thing you do have to keep in mind is when you go back to these old games, they were designed at a time where the expectation of the developer was 0 frames of input lag.
Right.
You played these on CRTs.
Yeah.
So the weight may not even necessarily be intended. It's just when you have such a small window of error to make these jumps in these games and you play them on modern sets, even though you've only got maybe 1 frame of input lag, that's 1 more frame than you had back then.
Yeah. I wonder if they've done anything to account for that when they ported these games over to the Switch.
I don't think there's anything you can do. You know,
I don't know.
It just is what
I'll look
it is.
into that. I'm curious.
You know, you get it as low as you can. I'm pretty sure that the Switch natively, when you go into handheld mode, I think it has amazing input lag. It's like really good.
Oh yeah, okay. That's I played it. I've only played it in handheld because I was traveling this weekend. So
yeah, I think it's really good. But I mean, I think it still has it. It's still digital. So there's still computing that happens. So you've got. I think generally you've got something like in the best sets in the world, you get like maybe 10 milliseconds. So it's not a full frame,
right?
Depending on your frame rate. But all Nintendo games have always been 60 frames per second. They're like kind of famous for that. So even though this game doesn't look like it's a 60 FPS game, it's just because there aren't that many renderings in any of these characters' movements. But that's kind of why when you see like a big explosion, sometimes it looks kind of otherworldly in these games because that'll be at 60 frames per second.
Right.
This character's movement only has 15 frames in it.
Yeah.
So you're saying to play Super Metroid on the Xbox One X?
I think that's what you gotta do.
On a 4K TV?
That's really what I'm getting to. Yeah, 4K TV. Xbox
I look forward to. I think Super Metroid is going to be a love-hate relationship over the course of probably a year for me, as I pick it up and put it down and get frustrated and make progress and feel really good about it and yada yada. But it does have a lot of. I'm noticing it has a lot of. You can really see the influences that it had on modern Metroidvania games, you know, and in a way, like thinking about it now, I almost feel like this game was really ahead of its time. It does a lot in terms of level design and game design that really lead the player in a smart way where it doesn't hold your hand. It asks you to take some liberty with your exploration, and it drip feeds you new abilities and discoveries and new environments as you go, and it really trusts you to find your own way, and it does that in a way that hasn't been so frustrating outside of the thing I was telling you about with the little floor tile that I couldn't find, but. For the most part, it does that to the effect of it's very satisfying when you figure it out. At another part where I was running the same thing, it ended up being a floor tile that I needed to shoot. But when I found it, I was like, oh, there it is. I got it. It didn't take me too long. It took me maybe 5 minutes of just looking around, trying to figure out where I was going next. And it does. And again, the game is a little slower paced, so it didn't feel like I was being interrupted too much. I got it, and it felt good. It felt good. Like just making that progress all on my own, you know.
Yeah.
See you later, John. Thanks for hanging out.
Later, John. But besides Metroid, I played a bit of Super Mario 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Also my first time playing that game.
No.
Didn't fuck around with it too much, but exactly what you'd expect. Except this go around, you're not just controlling Mario. You're basically Yoshi. And you care for Baby Mario. Anytime you get hit, Baby Mario starts to fly away, and you got to catch him before he does.
They use an Astral Chain?
And and it's basically a prequel to Astral Chain.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Your waifu, Baby Peach, is just like, whoa!
Where did those come from?
You are 3 years old. This is weird. But yeah, I really enjoy the way they lay out these their online catalogs. It's like just the way the gallery of titles that they put out. It's the original box art. You thumb through all of them. You pick the one you want. It brings you to a nice, it loads up exactly as you remember. if you have any nostalgia for that sort of thing, and the Nintendo Online, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online service has a pretty good lineup that it launched with, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah,
That boss is pretty cool in the background.
Yeah, that's me.
That's
Very cool. Very cool. I wanna check out the Super Nintendo games that they released.
you should. You
Don't
should.
think this
You'd
will be
like it.
one of them.
No, but there's a lot on there for you to like. Like Link to the Past is on there, and Pilot Wings is on there. Super Ghouls and Goblins, or Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Is it Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yeah.
Sorry. Super Mario World, yeah, etc. Super Mario Kart.
Super Mario
Yeah.
Kart is a very, very difficult game.
Let me. I haven't caught up on chat in quite a bit. Has anybody been keeping up with this?
A bunch of fart noises and
Good.
and talking about farting out of your balls and
Okay.
downloading Tom. I don't know.
Downloading Tom.
Yeah.
Danny said, "Yeah, you waited on hold, then told the dude where you were stuck in regards to the Nintendo hotline." That's. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Like, what if the guy on the other end didn't know? I'm curious, like, what kind of like they must have had some sort of like Bible or of game guides that they could. Oh, you could tell them, and they'll be like, "Yeah, hold on a minute," and they go to that and tell you exactly what to do. But there had to have been experiences where I mean, if anybody watching has had that experience, I really want to know. If anybody listening in the future, please write into us. But I'm curious if you've ever come across an experience where they were like, "Yeah, we're not sure. Sorry."
Danny is the only human being who's ever called that hotline.
Yeah, I think so too. I truly think so.
No, I'm just kidding. But the reason that Danny called that hotline is the only reason that any human being ever called that.
It's because
So
of
it's just,
that
they just
part.
needed that one answer, and then that was how you did it. There were dozens of us.
Olivia has a collage above her bed of screenshots of my face from each stream. So we're on episode 35, so that's a lot of screenshots of me. Most of them are probably very unflattering.
I wonder if it's the same one I have.
We got we got a new bop it here. Fuck it, suck it, lick it, and tickle.
We were doing some of that when I was streaming Creature in the Well.
Fuck it. Boom, 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 boom. Downloading. You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't steal a bag. Downloading Tom is a crime. I love that. You wouldn't steal a car. Like nobody wrote so whoever wrote that PSA of piracy back then wasn't like, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like they didn't realize that there was like car minus car equals no cars, but me plus this movie equals me have this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Star Fox, F-Zero. Yeah. You could play all, like Danny said here, you could play all these, like even the NES games. There's full online support for all of these that are multiplayer. And if you want to voice chat, you can download the wonderful app that they have that I don't think they update anymore. So
Oh,
that's
it's so
wonderful.
good. Yeah.
This guy really wants to make this jump.
Yeah, I
so
can't
bad.
watch it. I
What I said
can't
about
watch it
Upload.
anymore, dude.
He's not.
Yeah,
gonna
that's
do it.
like
He's not.
I
gonna
did this
stop.
quite a bit for things that were much easier. It's just-
Oh,
Giving
was
me
that you?
fucking
Was that your
anxiety.
gameplay?
You mean
No,
Discord?
someone
Yeah,
else.
Danny. You might as well. Like honestly, Discord. They should have just partnered with Discord in a way that there could be like, even if they like released a separate app that was Discord but Nintendo branded, like they should have done something rather than that fucking mess that they have.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Anyway, that's what I got up to. Played a lot of Slay the Spire. I know I told you I was going to get in depth into it, but I feel like I've been talking a lot. It's getting late, so I kind of want to hear what you've been playing.
Yeah, sorry, I totally wasn't listening to you. So
Oh,
what
okay.
would you say?
Before
Like
we
literally just now.
Yeah, literally just now I was looking at the chat and my mind went somewhere else. What'd you just say?
would now be a good time for a 5-minute break before we go.
Yeah, sure. We can take a break.
Yeah, I guess so, Tom. Sure.
Sure. Let's ruin the stream. Go ahead.
Let's all take a break for
Ruin
Tom.
it. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I'm
we'll
gonna
be
go-
back.
I'm gonna
We'll be back in 10 minutes. We're all gonna take peepees. We advise you to do the same. It's not good to hold in your peepees.
That's how you get UTIs.
That's how you get UTIs.
Super
All right.
Nintendo Entertainment, Nintendo Switch.
So we will be right back after a short break.
Stick around for some trailers.
Oh, fun times.
Thanks, Mike. Dude, I have PP so much today.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. Yeah, I've been constant.
Good for you, man.
A lot just today. I mean, I'm hydrated. Comes out clear, crystal clear, man.
That's what happens.
I take a taste. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm healthy. I'm good.
Yeah, and make sure it's
Sterile.
not toxic.
Yeah, right.
No blood in the urine.
Mhm.
You can only tell by tasting it.
Yeah. I
And
always
hey,
taste
if there
my
is,
urine.
then mine tastes pretty good.
I always taste my urine. That's a rule of thumb.
A rule, a rule of thumb for what?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too, Mayhem. I am drinking what is known as a LaCroix, pamplemousse, which is grapefruit flavored. Rich people stuff.
My drink of choice, as usual, is Fiji water because I'm a basic bitch. And
Tom, what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah.
Because I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah.
What's
Reef
wrong with
donkey.
Fiji water? Fiji water's not a basic bitch.
No, it's not. But it's someone who goes out of their way to be an asshole about water. You know.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, for sure. Mayhem says my camera is behind compared to my voice. I think he just wants me to keep talking as a test so that you can keep hearing my voice. Mayhem has requested a private ASMR stream. So we're all on the same page here.
Okay.
Anyway,
How was your break, guys? What'd you guys do, huh?
walked out,
Yeah.
harassed Elizabeth,
Okay.
put my Switch in the dock because it hasn't been charged in 24 hours.
Smart.
Watched the murder, the suicide of Rachel Foster. What was
Yeah,
it?
man.
The murder of Rachel.
Looks cool.
Watched that trailer. Watched the Project Resistance trailer. That's about it. That was my break.
Tom, what about you, man? Why'd you gotta go on break so fast, huh? You want to explain to the audience? Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
He's on mute.
Yeah, I know he's muted.
No. All right,
was
so let's
gonna
just
piss
continue the
myself.
stream until we...
Okay,
Oh,
sure.
man. We shouldn't have told them. We should have just kept going.
Well, you said something. I was acting.
Yeah, I
He
know.
actually,
I'm
I
thinking about
responded, and
myself.
he actually thought I could hear him. It was pretty good.
Alex was doing a really good job of knowing exactly what I was saying and responding to it. I had no fucking idea. When you just said I was muted, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I peed a lot of urine.
Okay.
Alex is actually a professional lip reader.
Mm-hmm.
He has a certificate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, Tom. Did you?
I didn't know that, but Alex did
Yeah.
ruin the stream for everybody because you literally could have done the rest of this without me actually talking. So
True.
This
I don't
isn't
read
my
lips how you think I do, though. I can't look at you and see what you're saying. I read lips like I read Braille, where I put my fingers on your mouth,
Right.
and while you speak, I can kind of tell what you're saying because I'm touching your lips. You know what I'm saying?
I like when you touch my lips.
Sometimes you got to get like one or two fingers in
Mhm.
too.
Usually I do the two, and I
If
put
you can get
two.
the tongue.
Right. I put the two on the corners, and then I slip the thumb in, and my thumb
Right.
will just it'll just poke in and out of your mouth, so it just touches the tip of your tongue. So
So
I know
smart.
when you're doing T's, the T sound is at the front of your mouth. So if you see T,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that man just said tomato.
You can learn a lot from the tongue. That man just said tomato.
You know what I mean? What? I look at the chat. Apparently, I have sexual harassment, like filed
You
against
have
me.
it. You just have. I
don't know
own
what
sexual
the fuck I'm
harassment.
talking about anymore. I do know what I want to talk about though.
Oh.
I played and streamed some Creature in the Well.
Yes. I played a little bit of this as well. I played about halfway.
Yeah.
I got about halfway, rather.
Yeah, man.
So did you end up beating it?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished it up. So, excuse me, man. So what this game is well, it's an interesting one. It's definitely innovative, which is something, if you've been watching the stream, you know, I usually like games that go off the beaten path. So this game is an isometric action game. It's like a hack and slash game, but they call it a pin brawler, which means that you basically gather these pinballs and you slash at them, and then they fly around the room. And the enemies in this game are pinball bumpers that show up that have like a health bar on them. So you slash the pinball at the bumper takes damage, and when the bumper takes enough damage where it's basically a light on top of it fills up, then the bumper goes down. And that's just that's how the game works. The enemies are pinball bumpers. Your attacks are via pinballs.
Right.
It was cool. It was a very cool game. It was a very interesting game. I'm going to say right off the bat, if you watched me stream it, you know, on Friday I played it for about 3 hours or so, and I had to stop because I was getting very frustrated with the game. The reason being is that throughout the game, so the way that the game works is you basically go through a level, okay? There's 9 levels if you include the boss, where you're just going through various rooms, and each room that you go into is a new puzzle or combat section that I don't know what exactly you would call it, because some of them you have to like think a little bit of how to approach them. Others it's a mix. Yeah, right. Others it's very clear what you have to do, so you just kind of try to go on with it. But so every room is like something you have to beat. And then as you knock these bumpers down, you start to collect energy, and you use their energy as a currency in order to open up doors. So I thought that was a very interesting mechanic, because I found myself very easily having way too much energy to know what to do with. Yeah. That I was able to just kind of skip rooms completely if I felt the need to. Yes. Right. However, if you want to 100% the game, in each level, there's about anywhere from like 8 to 11 or 12 of these, like what I use, so you mean break right there, where you have to complete the room, and then this special bumper comes out with a ton of energy inside of it that you just knock balls towards, and you collect all that energy. So if you complete all of those bumpers in one level, you get like a special opening, basically, or like it'll tell you what happens. So like one of them, let me back up. So the story of the game is that you wake up as like a robot in the desert, and you come across a town that is like shut in. Like everyone is kind of afraid to come outside. The town is not in a healthy situation whatsoever. And you start to find out that it's due to this creature that lives in a quote-unquote well. And the well is basically this gigantic machine that keeps the town running. There's like a bunch of different sections of the machine, and what you're doing is just going through each machine and restoring power to it through the energy that you collect through going through the rooms. Right. That's pretty much the entire game. And then eventually you have to fight the creature and get him the hell out of the town, you know?
Yeah. You're room by room. It's kind of like a mix between puzzle solving and pinball combat.
Yes. Yeah. pretty much, or a mix of the two, like you said, where some of them are, So as you go through and you're collecting energy, opening up doors and all that stuff, when you fully complete a room, more open up, and you can kind of go your own path. It's kind of linear, but it kind of isn't, in a way that there's no order of the layers, there's no order of like the dungeons that you have to go through. You can just kind of choose whichever one you do first. I'm lost. Sorry.
This is you playing in the background?
Yeah, this is me playing. Yeah.
Okay. I was just watching and I was like, this guy's really fucking good. But compared to me, my experience with this was you were telling me on Saturday morning about the frustration you were having.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? My niece, I was visiting family this weekend. My niece was sick, so I was kind of just sitting on the couch next to her, and she was in and out of sleep. I had my laptop with me, and I was like, this is a tiny game. Let me just fire it up. And I found it interesting. Let me play a little bit. So I was playing on my Surface without a controller or a mouse. So I was playing with a trackpad and the keyboard. And I was a lot less fluid than you are right now. Like, you look like a fucking kung fu master compared to how I was going through this game.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like because I don't have okay, so like I don't have a mouse that I could use to just like aim.
Well, I was using a controller. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
okay, regardless. Yes, I got you.
The controller. I don't have a stick or a mouse. So I had to and then the way you do it, I have a trackpad, which doesn't really differentiate between left and right clicks. It's just where on the trackpad you're clicking, which is like kind of finicky because sometimes, I'm just playing and I don't realize my finger just drifts over to the middle of the trackpad and then it doesn't really know which one I'm doing. So I had to map charge and attack to two different keys. And then when I would hold the charge one, I would then have to take my other hand off of the WSAD, move it to the trackpad so I could like whirl my finger around the trackpad, and it would always take a second before it realized that that's what I was doing. For some reason, if I would just put my finger on the trackpad and just like move it, it wouldn't register that. I don't know if that's specific to the Surface trackpad.
Yeah,
I would have to like spin my finger in a circle, and then my aimer would spin, and then I could pinpoint. So encounters got incredibly difficult.
Yeah, that does not seem like the ideal
into the game.
That does not seem.
Yeah, it still shines like in all the parts where it was meant to.
Yeah.
A game that really like stood out to me. I know they kept comparing it to Pinball, but I was getting a lot of Breakout vibes. Do you remember Breakout?
I actually said it when I played the first level, where I said I'm very interested in this game, not so much for the pinball aspect, because I'll play pinball here and there, but I never go out of my way to play it. But I said Breakout was a game I played a fuck ton of for the Atari.
Yes, same.
Yeah,
and it has that. And honestly, I feel like it has that feel more than, for me at least.
I agree.
More than Pinball.
Yeah, definitely.
It is Pinball in the bumpers, but it's Breakout in everything else, from the gameplay to like your controls to a certain degree. Once you get these dual blades that you have here in the video, the game gets a lot more manageable. The dual blades give you that laser pointer pretty much, so you can aim your shots a lot easier. It made playing on a trackpad and keyboard much easier.
I'd imagine.
But the fucking puzzle to get those goddamn dual blades, dude, took me like a half hour.
I don't remember.
Like, you were just at it. It requires like, it's on the left side, you got to shoot your ball through a little opening. Then on the right side, you got to do it in your time.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one is this tiny sliver that you
really
got to get your ball through.
15 seconds, yeah.
Dude, I got to that. It was like 0.01 seconds left when I hit that thing down. It was the first time I got to that point in the puzzle, and I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to pass this. And I just took a shot, and I hit it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I was so happy.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, this game is very rewarding in that way. That when you complete a puzzle, because some of them are timed, or I'd say like a lot of them are timed. That when you beat it, like at the buzzer, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, totally. But the game also like it. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. No, because I was going to continue. Go.
It takes the. I was going to talk about the approach of how it doesn't tell you much.
Yes. Okay. I was just about to go into that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So when I first started playing this game, I didn't really know. It doesn't. The tutorial is very minimal, if anything at all. Is it kind of teaches you, like, very slowly. Okay, you have to energize these balls and then shoot them at the bumper. That's the game. But they don't tell you how you heal. You have to kind of just figure that out. There is a heal in, like, the main area, which I did not find out until I found an actual heal in a dungeon. Like, in a dungeon, I came across a white pool that healed me first. And then after I died and I respawned back at the base, I've noticed that there's a white pool in the place. I'm like, oh, that's how I just healed before. So I didn't even know that was there. So for a lot of the game, I was dying and then attempting again with no health.
You were.
Yes.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, it made me
literally nothing when you respawn them.
Yeah, you have like one hit and you're dead, kind of a thing. Yeah.
You just assumed that was it.
I went. There's got to be a way to heal somehow.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough, dude.
Yeah, I played this game on a much harder mode than was intended due to me not discovering things.
Yeah.
So the heal was one thing, and then another factor that, once again, if you watch the stream, there's cores that you pick up when you beat certain rooms in certain dungeons, and you use that core and you upgrade yourself to do more damage with a pinball. So the way that the damage works is that you attack a pinball or you attack a ball, and you can attack it so many times that the energy builds up in it, that when you release it, it does that amount of damage. So at level 1, the max that you can get it to is 60 damage. And the game ramps up with how much damage you have to actually do to the bumpers. So in the beginning, it was not an issue. It was not a problem at all. I was just like, okay, yeah, this is the game. But then it started getting so much harder, and I had 4 of these cores. So at the point that I was in the game, I was supposed to be level 5. I should have upgraded myself 4 times, and I didn't. So I was just beating bosses at a total disadvantage of only being able to do 60. So that you can get an idea that when I stopped streaming on Friday, I was doing 60 damage per ball. Over the weekend, you told me, yeah, by the way, there's like a building in the town that you can upgrade at.
Yeah.
I did that, and then my balls can go up to 275 damage. So I was doing a little bit more.
Powerful balls.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't have that same issue. I don't know if that was because we talked before I started playing, but I'm also one to kind of explore immediately when I'm given the freedom.
Yeah.
Right off the bat when I got to that main area. And you don't go through the town first.
No, you don't.
So I just went down and I realized I could exit, and then I saw a town there. You know, you get that hub area where you're in the mountain, and then I exited it on the bottom. You get to the town and there's only like 2 doors you can go in, and I just like explored the shit out of this whole area.
Yeah.
But I found that like purple crocodile guy.
Right. So my problem was that I also went into the town, but instead of going right where the upgrades are, I went left where there's 3 buildings with shut doors, and one of them has dialogue coming out of it that says, shh. So in my mind, I just made the assumption, okay, none of the doors in this town are going to be opened. They don't want to come out, so I'm wasting my time if I look any further in this town. And I just continued on with the game, which obviously was my downfall. But, I mean, also, like I was saying, there's certain benefits that you get for completing a dungeon completely with collecting all of those, like, energy cores. And one of them said that the town gets restored. So I was like, okay, I got to do the grid system in order to restore the town, and then I'm sure I can upgrade my character. So I attempted that fucking grid boss so many times, and every time I failed miserably because I was not doing enough damage. Like, it was not possible, given the time, because bumpers would come up and they would give you like 2 seconds to complete, and I literally couldn't do enough damage. Even at my max, because the max balls you can carry at once is 3, even with all 3 at the max damage I can get them at and shooting them at the bumper, it wouldn't do anything. So I'm like, okay, I can't advance and I don't know what to do. I know it's my fault. I know I'm missing something, but I have to put this fucking game down before I put a hole in my wall. So, so I put it down, and then over the weekend, you're like, yeah, that's how you upgrade. So the first thing I did was I upgraded, and then I just cruised. I had no problem with the game at all. Not to say that it wasn't still kind of difficult. I still had trouble on like boss fights and stuff.
Yeah, it presents its difficulty in a different way.
Yeah.
It doesn't just like you scale with the HP, the attack damage, etc. You scale with that pretty evenly.
Yeah.
To the point where like it's probably unnecessary.
Right.
But like that whole upgrading system could have been taken out. It's really not necessary.
Yeah, it's right. That's true.
It scales in difficulty and it ramps up the difficulty in that the fights throw more and more at you and the fights get longer as you go on. The boss fights, that is.
Mm-hmm.
So like Alex was saying before, each dungeon kind of consists of, it's a pretty linear path. Sometimes it branches out in a couple directions, but then you'll hit a dead end. And you always you're gonna go through room by room. You're gonna hit this last room where you see the creature in the well, and you step over a platform and he pulls the platform down, and you go through a series of fights. And then when you do that, you beat the boss of that dungeon. You beat the creature in that dungeon, and you can restore the power. And that's the entire. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I only played half the game. That's the entire gameplay loop. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I found like so. Those boss fights were awesome.
Yeah,
I really liked a lot of those, and so they mix and match between like they're throwing a lot of things at you, they're throwing bombs at you, and there are certain like hazards that your balls can hit that'll harm you if you hit them and you're standing too close, like they'll explode. All the while they're timing you on the things that you do need to hit, and you have to be very precise with it. So when you get the flow of the game, it feels really nice to like pull these things off, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the puzzles I felt like required this extreme precision that didn't feel possible, and I don't know if this was the way I was playing, but the charge shots, so before you get the dual blades, the charge shots don't go in a straight line. And this gets alleviated when you get the dual blades, but it's like this exercise of like patience and brevity where you're like, I need to be patient and line up my shot, but I need to be really quick because I'm timed. But your charge shots, your balls kind of like hover in this like almost like small triangle. So when you let go, they shoot forward, or when you hit them, they shoot forward. But they're not going to go in this direct single file line forward, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there were points where you need extreme precision, where like that puzzle to get the dual blades I was talking about, where you have to shoot your balls between this small opening. But I kept hitting the bumpers because I would shoot in that direction, and then they would pretty much just hit the corners of it and fly back at me. Did you experience? I'm curious if that was just my control input. Like, did you experience any of that?
I mean, I didn't really have too much of an issue with what you're explaining. I know exactly what you mean, because when you hit so basically, let me explain. There's two different weapons that you get, more or less. One of them is a sword, and there's like several different types of swords you can get. Like in this right now, the weapon I'm using is like a chain, it's called. But so you use the sword or the chain, and that collects the balls. And you collect them, and they hover in front of you, and then you hit Y or whatever the other input is, and that strikes it with like a bat or a pipe or whatever other item you have. In this one, I'm using a lightning staff. And the angle that you hit these balls at is the direction that they go in. It's very physics based. It's not always going to go straight. So you can hover the balls in front of you. While they're hovering there, you could turn a little bit or angle yourself a little bit to hit them, and then they'll go in a different direction. They're not always going to go straight, like you said. But I didn't have too much of an issue. This is this part, by the way, is like the last boss, by the way, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't too much of an issue for me. But I can see how it would.
I figured that was.
I could see how
like how I was playing. Yeah.
So are you batting them away right now?
Yes, right now I'm not collecting them. I'm just spamming my lightning staff at this part. And then now you'll see that I'm starting to collect balls here because I need to accurately shoot them in a direction.
Yeah. It's some of the other, so aside from that, some puzzles also had the tendency to just require some brute force.
Yes.
By that I mean like really like there's just so much going on that you should just throw as many balls as you can out there, and they're gonna ricochet off of everything and eventually do enough damage.
Yeah, that's what you just saw me doing before.
Yeah. So, but like that room, if you were talking about the room with all the little like bulbs all around, like it's intended there. But there were other fights where I was just like, this is so chaotic. All I really need to do is just throw as many balls into this environment that I can, and it'll eventually, like, it'll just hit everything. It's like it'll get powered up by their fire. They'll bounce off this and that. They'll get stuck in here and just start going back and forth and do enough damage to this. And those were the ones that I had a little bit less fun in, because it was like Tom, like you were saying earlier with button mashing and Astral Chain. It felt like the equivalent of that in this game. I was just like, well, let me just throw everything out there and then just dodge, and that's it. That's all I need to do. But then they have like really interesting puzzles where they ask you to bounce pinballs off of parts of the wall and at certain angles, and they'll give you little clues to set it up, like a little mark on the floor.
Yes.
And and it like shows you almost like a path that you should hit your ball in, that it'll follow. And those were really fun to pull off. Those were also much more difficult because of how I was playing, but those were still really fun to pull off. And I almost wish a little more of that design was incorporated into the fights, into the actual fights, and not just the, here are a few bumpers, get past this room. But I mean, small offense, for the most part, the boss fights were really engaging.
Yeah.
It's such a chaotic game. Like, you're hyper focused constantly.
Yes.
Because you need to be paying attention to everything that the game is throwing at you. You need to be paying attention to where the bumpers are, where you're throwing your balls, where you're aiming, if you're charging or just hitting. Like, it's heavy. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's not so overwhelming to the point of frustration. It's a lot to where you die and you're like, let me get back in it. Let me throw me right back in it. And at first, it can get frustrating. At least it was for me when I was dying not on the boss. And then the first time I died on a boss, I was like, I really don't want to walk through this whole thing again. And then I realized there's a little portal at the beginning of each dungeon. And I was so grateful for that once you get to the boss, when you enter the dungeon again, because it knocks you all the way back out to town, you got to go through the mountain and everything. You can go straight into the dungeon and then step through a portal and you go straight to the boss again. And I was like, oh, fucking thank you. Oh my God. And I was surprised because the game has this, and Tom, I know you're a big fan of Dark Souls, and I don't know.
Game?
I just kind of like this. I don't know, some shitty indie game that came out a while ago. But like Dark Souls really kicked off this trend of, let's not tell the player shit. Let's see how they figure this out. And this game brought me to the point where I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, tell me how to play your game, at least. Tell me how to interact with this world. You just tell me how to use the tools, and I can figure everything else out. Like, what are you gaining? What am I gaining from this experience for you telling me that I not telling me where to heal? What am I gaining from this experience for you're not telling me where to upgrade? Like, I can figure those things out, sure, but like, what's
Dark Souls?
You're not enhancing my experience. I'm not like
Dark Souls isn't better for having done that. It survived it. It's so good that
interesting.
It.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing that I was saying earlier with Gordon in fucking Half-Life. It's not a better game because he doesn't talk. It just is such a good game that it survives the fact that he doesn't talk.
Right.
And people take the wrong message away from that from a game design standpoint.
Yeah.
And no, you tell the player how to play your fucking game because it's not Dark Souls.
It can get it just like there's a line, there's a fine line that like that they that they have to toe the line if they want to do that, and if you're gonna toe the line, make sure you don't cross the line and make it a frustrating experience. Even if the frustration only lasts 15 minutes while they have to figure that out, but then that's 15 minutes that I'm spent not immersed in your game, and I'm like, all right, just I'm tired of that. I'm gonna alt tab and figure out how to do this because I don't feel like doing this trial and error game. You know, like
the way I was looking at it was like, this is such a different type of game than what I'm used to. I guess I love isometric games. I tend to gravitate towards those, but the whole pinball aspect was something that obviously was new to me, and I was still trying to get a handle of. So like, I'm already trying to discover the gameplay mechanic itself. Don't let me try to figure out the world as well. I know that the setting is like, you know, it's like post-Armageddon, kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of weird desert kind of a thing where it's like, well, it's dark and dreary, so whatever. But like, just tell me what to do.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to. You know, it doesn't have to hold my hand. It doesn't have to be overbearing.
Right.
Just give me the knowledge I need.
If Roger T. Frog was like, hey, head outside, make sure I see that you have cores. Head outside and talk to what was it, Danielle, and and he'll fix you up. And I'd be like,
you don't
okay,
have to tell
cool.
me where Danielle is.
Yeah,
like,
just go outside and
I'll
talk
find
to
her.
Danielle.
Great.
Right, exactly.
Like literally nothing. They don't tell you.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm tired of this trend. Please, like, just tell me what to do or where to like.
See, like this is Mike. This is me walking to the town. To the right is the armory where you upgrade, but you never have to actually pass the building, and your camera doesn't see it. You have to like actually want to go. I'm gonna walk over in this direction, even though I don't. I know I don't need to go over here.
Even
That
maybe
was
that's
my
desperate because you don't want to be one shot, so you just try to desperately find any way to not be. Oh wait, no.
Sure, yeah. So it's like, and like maybe it's just that. Maybe it could have been alleviated by some smarter level design. Maybe they could have just thrown that in your path, and then
That's what
you'll just naturally happen upon it, you know. But like, it's
that one tutorial
a little too far in the other direction, and I don't. For me, at least, it didn't take away from the old from how I feel about the game. I still think it was like a really fun, innovative,
absolutely.
Little title, but it's just like that keeps it from being something that's like incredible. You know, it's a great game that keeps it from being incredible for me.
Yeah, I like I said, even after my frustration when I played it Friday and I quit due to the difficulty I was playing at, when I picked it back up and I jumped right back into it, I'm like, this game's still fun. Like.
Yeah,
I'm not, even though I was sour and frustrated, when I came back into it, I didn't hold that with me. I was just like, okay, well, now I'm just going to continue playing this fun game. So it's definitely fun. It's it's free on Game Pass right now if you have it. I played it on PC. I would advise you use a controller. I'm not sure how this would play with mouse and keyboard. Probably.
I think it'll be fine because the keyboard. I mean, the mouse you could just swing around and that's your right stick, I assume.
Yeah.
But like, definitely do not play it on a laptop trackpad. It's
sage advice.
Unless you are some sort of sadist, but I promise you, it's a much better experience.
Yeah.
Using a controller.
The speaking of movement, by the way, the movement of the game, like the character itself, is some of the best I've ever felt in a game like this. Like it never at any point felt clunky or that I wish I had more movement options or anything like that. I have a dash. That's all I really need, and the dash is perfectly fine. You can dash and kind of like weave. Yeah, you can weave in like a direction when you dash too. So the game itself feels very, very good to play. I came across a couple of bugs when I was playing. One, I got stuck in bumpers and I had to restart, which kind of stunk. But I mean, it wasn't a huge setback, so I wasn't frustrated with it. And then the other bug was just at the end of the game when the credits started rolling, which the game kind of was a little abrupt ending, but I didn't really expect. The story, and once again, the story is completely told through dialogue. whenever you beat a dungeon, at the end there's like 4 different computers that you can just go to, and it'll just tell a little tale or whatever.
Yes. A little flavor of the world.
Yeah, a little flavor of the world, which we all have agreed that we're kind of sick of that. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
It was inoffensive here because it was so minimal.
Yeah, it was minimal, exactly. But yeah, so the game ended and there was no sound during the credits. There was no music where there clearly was supposed to be. There was like a small cutscene. There was no sound throughout the whole thing. So I was like, is this my fault? And then the credits ended and it went back to the title screen and the music started. So I was like, okay, this is not my fault. And so that was a little bit anticlimactic due to that, but it wasn't really a make or break deal. And I'm happy with this game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has a really nice art style too. It has this,
the art style is
it's
fantastic.
almost like comic booky with this like it has a very limited color palette, but
yes,
everything feels like it bleeds together almost, and like it adds to the strange atmosphere that the game just oozes throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we say it doesn't tell you anything, the story is also a big mystery. You know, like Alex was saying, there's this creature in this well, and the well inside the well is like inside this mountain, and there's this machine that powers the town. Everything is just like you don't know, like, are these humans? Is this some other race? Is this Earth? Is this like you don't really know? They don't give you the big picture.
Yeah,
you get little bits of flavor through the notes, and you get little bits of flavor through the creature dialogue.
There's a frog named Roger T. Frog that mops the same spot the entire game.
Yeah.
Hey, and then there's a gigantic purple crocodile named Danielle who is a blacksmith. That's so.
And your name is
very
like
strange.
Bot
C. Yeah.
Roger the Frog, Danielle the crocodile, Bot.
They keep saying that you're an engineer, and they keep hinting that there used to be like a whole bunch of engineers, and now they're all gone due to the creature.
This is all like right off the bat, by the way. No,
yeah,
not really
it's all right off the bat.
There's not really a way you can spoil the story because it's just like that's vomited
it's literally
at you right away, and then you get a little flavor.
The game starts and it's like, this is our problem. There's a creature in the well, and it's up to you to defeat them.
Yeah,
and
it's all
eventually
about
that happens, and then it's over.
Yeah.
But, I liked it. I liked it.
It was awesome to, great that it launched on Game Pass, but I would, if you don't have Game Pass and it interests you, either get Game Pass if that's something you want, but this is, I would say this is worth the asking price. I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, same.
And it's on Switch as well, and it would make a really good, pick up and play kind of portable title.
And that's your thing. It's not a long game. It took me maybe 6 hours to complete, maybe 7.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I played for like 3 hours, and I looked, and I was
50%.
At so, it's check it out.
Creature in the Well. Oh,
what a weird name for this game.
Yeah. Well, weird name, weird game.
Hey,
what are you gonna do? Have sex with me?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do that, but still. Any less weird.
Should we move into news?
Yeah, man, we can move into news. Sure.
Have you guys played anything else? Or
no. Actually, you know what? Really, really quick, and I think I want to talk about this next week. You might have seen it. There's a lot of, if you watch like YouTube channels, there's a lot of these. Raid, the advertisements for the game Raid, the mobile game.
Raid Shadow Lair?
Yeah, Raid Shadow Lair.
You can't watch any fucking video on YouTube without getting Raid Shadow Lair, best thing that ever sucked your dick.
Right.
I don't. This doesn't ring a bell. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, it's a mobile.
Watch
game.
a YouTube video.
It's a very popular mobile game right now, as far as I can tell from all the advertisements and a lot of the YouTubers. Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
I downloaded it. I played it for a little bit. I kind of want to talk about it, but not today.
Alex, if you want to talk about it, if it's positive, make sure we get a fucking sponsorship first. Okay. Because they will pay anybody.
Oh, they will fucking
promote
They
that
would have.
shit.
Yeah, we could probably get a sponsorship from them right now if we wanted to. But
Yeah, if your take was anything other than this is a steaming pile of shit, they'll pay for it.
yeah,
It
probably.
looks. I'm watching a video. It looks interesting.
Don't get fooled.
I'm sure it looks nothing like that video.
I think what I'm finding interesting about it is probably what it enticed you.
Yes, the animations and the graphics look great for a mobile game.
Do they actually look like that though, Alex? Does the game actually look like that?
It doesn't matter, Tom.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear what you are. You like you don't want to talk about it this week because of the time, or
I
want to spend more time.
both. I want to look at it more and collect all my thoughts so that it's nice and concise.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I want to flesh it out.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was
All
a
right.
good news week.
It was. Yeah. Let's move into the news.
What do you want to talk about, man?
Let's start with the Nintendo Direct. I think
Oh.
that's
So
probably what happens.
I pulled some clips from the Nintendo Direct.
Cool. Yeah. I'm
But
just gonna
not the
kind
entire
of go
thing,
down the
so,
list of
yeah. Okay.
stuff like the big stuff that they.
All right. So what you're talking about will not reflect the stuff happening on the back.
Yeah.
Basically. All right.
So Nintendo had a Direct last Wednesday, I believe. It was September 4th, where they announced a whole slew of things, showed off a lot of stuff that's coming out. One of the things, as we mentioned before, is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. It's so fun to say. I don't know why. It's the worst fucking name.
It really is. It's so long.
They announced those games and they came out the next day. Like I said, games like Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2, Super Metro, Ghouls and Ghosts, Pilot Wings, F-Zero, Breath of Fire, Brawl Brothers, etc. They also had a lot of game announcements, such as, but not limited to, Overwatch coming to the Switch in October, which I'm like oddly excited about. I don't know, like it might take somebody else to pull the trigger first before I do it,
Right.
but I kind of want to get it because I want to play more Overwatch, and the portability factor is really enticing to me.
No cross play though, right?
No crossplay. I think that's a problem they aren't sure how to solve.
Yeah,
It would be
gonna
awesome to have
hard.
some crossplay with other consoles, but I don't know. I'm surprised that there's no crossplay with Xbox, like right off the bat, because Nintendo and Xbox games that are on both have had crossplay, already.
And it's
So-
gonna have to cultivate its own ecosystem, and
Yeah,
everybody who's played Overwatch, everybody who's interested in Overwatch has played it, and there's
Remains to-
no cross
yeah.
save.
Right, right. So you're progress. You got to start over.
Yeah.
It remains to be
Start over
seen
by
if that'll be a
yourself.
deterrent or not. But it almost like I'm slightly excited by it, but it also feels like maybe like you're like 2 years late to the party here, Blizzard.
It's a weird.
Like this is
pitch.
something that
It's
we
a
would have
really
been
weird
like,
pitch.
oh shit, if you
Wait.
announced this a year ago.
I thought maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I thought there was a cross save where
There's no cross progression.
I
That's
thought
a
your
big, that's a
PC
big deal. No,
carried over.
No, that's Divinity.
There's
Divinity.
No cross
That's what I'm
there.
thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Yep.
So there's talks that they're possibly what I found it. Well, yeah, like I said, little too late. So I'm curious to see what the adoption will be on this, like, or what the attach rate will be rather.
Yeah.
I
I
hope it
need-
does well. Obviously, don't want any games to
Yeah.
fail, but I hope it finds an audience and has a healthy life on there.
It's just a weird pitch.
I don't want them to fall into, because right now, like they have Overwatch for PC, they have Overwatch for the consoles, and then they have Overwatch for Switch. I'm not saying Switch isn't a console, but I feel like one of them, as we've seen in the past with games like Counter-Strike and whatnot, like it starts to get fragmented to where they stop supporting one as much as the others, and maybe updates come a little later, and then maybe updates stop coming. Overwatch, I'm not sure if it's near the end of its lifespan. I mean, it seems to still be healthy, and they are still releasing characters.
Yeah. It's super healthy game.
I don't know how healthy it's going to be on the Switch, and if there's a line where they're going to be like, okay, we're cutting this off. It would be really sad if they did. And hopefully before they get to that point, they will try to figure out some sort of cross-play, cross-progression workaround. But yeah, again, good news. It's awesome to see these types of games coming to the Switch, whereas like the last 2 generations, Nintendo wasn't really getting much third-party love, you know?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I should say the last 3. Although the Wii had a lot of third-party love, but not a lot of third-party love that sold well. So, Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out next month. They showed off a little bit more of that. Trials of Mana coming out April 2020. Trials of Mana, that's the remake of which Mana game? I'm forgetting.
Secret of Mana.
I think it's Secret of Mana. Yeah. It's a full like 3D remake of that. They showed off Banjo-Kazooie, dropped in the same day. Showed off Terry Bogard, next character for Smash.
Tom's
Is that his
happy.
last name is Bogard?
What'd you say?
You just say his last name was Bogard?
Yeah, it's Terry Bogard is the character.
Oh, interesting. No, I mean, I've been such a big fan of Terry for so many years and like have been dying so much for him in the game, and I never realized that his last name was Bogard. So it's interesting that I'm just learning that now as one of the many people who just like freaked out their shit and turned inside out when this was announced. Like, I know you saw people crying like when Banjo was announced, but when Terry was announced. Next level.
So Tom's very upset by this.
Actually, I'm not. I'm not that upset by it because of the next thing that they announced, which
which is that there will be more characters beyond this pass.
Yeah.
I assume that's what you're talking about?
It is, and Shigeru Miyamoto came out and actually said, "Hey, listen, I like the way he said this. Like, Smash will probably continue. There will probably be more Smash games." I'm like, well, I know there will be, but the way that he's saying it, it's almost like he's saying, I'm probably not going to be involved moving forward, and I really want this to be my opus, and we're not going to stop making characters.
Smash Ultimate. This is the ultimate Smash. This is... Yeah. I don't think there's going to be another Smash like this.
I don't think so either, man. Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be another one with a roster of this size. I think the next entry in the Smash franchise is going to be... I don't know. I think it's going to be a little different.
I think it's going to be worse because honestly, as somebody who like loves this game, like the whole, having played it since 64 and seriously since Melee.
Yeah.
Ultimate is.
I don't think there's going to be another one on Switch. So seeing another Smash, I have a feeling is going to be a very long way off. And I think Smash Ultimate's going to have a very healthy and extended lifespan.
Yeah, I think so.
At least as long as the Switch is supported by Nintendo. You know, like they want this to be. This is the Smash platform. You know, Smash Ultimate. You want to play Smash? Smash Ultimate. That's the definitive version of Smash.
It's going to be very, very hard to make another game in the series.
Yeah.
How and why? Because
the
game is technically so perfect. Like, just as a fighting game, it works well. And they keep adding characters, and they're good. Like, even though I don't think Dragon Quest Hero is fit for tournament, I mean, that's just...
No, but it is a good addition to the game. You know,
it's an amazing addition to the game.
Not every character needs to be a tournament viable character, you know.
Exactly, and it's so good. So but I think I'm so excited that Miyamoto came out, and what a good idea it was to save that announcement for the very day that you announced that this nobody is getting into Smash. We're all waiting for Doom Guy or whatever.
I think it depends on the circles that you run in. King of Fighters.
What circle? Oh, is that really a thing though?
King of Fighters? Yeah. I mean, doesn't have the prominence that it used to, but from what I hear, Latin America is
there is still
King of Fighters.
I honestly didn't know. Total ignorance.
You know, I'm pretty sure it was either this year's Evo or last year's Evo when they announced that a new King of Fighters is coming out. The crowd fucking exploded. It definitely still has a big group of people that follow.
So then there's actually it's making sense from a marketing perspective because you're actually bringing this character in to help promote a new game.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh,
so that makes it even
for
bigger.
sure. Yeah. SNK also, I think, was a big early supporter of the Switch. they released a lot of Neo Geo titles early on when the lineup, wasn't as padded as it is now. Yeah, it's nice to see, and I think it makes sense based upon what Sakurai said when they announced the Fighter Pass, and they used something along the lines of, these characters we want to release, we want to pull, and they're not going to be characters you expect,
Yeah. It's cool. It's really cool. And then but I stand by my previous statement. It was incredibly wise for them to make the announcement that there will be more than these 5
Yes. Yeah.
when they dropped Terry as number 4.
Yeah.
Because you lit up those guys who love King of Fighters. You totally created a massive swirl of hype in a particular region, which is great. But then the rest of the world was like, what the fuck? And then,
Right, and then they were left thinking, oh, we only have one more.
Yeah,
and
right.
none of those rumors were true, and we really wanted them all to be true, so I'm going to be disappointed. And then now it's just like an indefinite. They haven't said how many more. They haven't even said if there's going to be a new fighter pass. They kind of just said there's going to be more fighters.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll buy
Yeah.
it though. Whatever it
Yeah.
is, I will give them the money.
I imagine they'll
They've
put
already
out
earned
another pass and then sell them piecemeal again, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo will continue to get my money up front until they give me reason to not give it to them.
So you played a little bit of banjo, you said,
I did.
and
play
it wasn't
some
your cup of
Banjo.
tea.
Well, I mean, I think he's a great addition to the game. Like I said, when he got announced, I know that people really were super happy that he was a character that got brought in, and he's got a fairly unique play style. But like, I like quick rush down characters, combo heavy characters. He isn't that.
Yeah.
And I also
okay.
like sword characters, and he has nothing in the way of disjoints. Like he's got a pretty decent forward tilt, but like other than that, he's very kind of slow. His lateral movement in the air is almost pathetically slow. He's got a couple of really neat little tricks that he can do, a couple of little confirms he can do off of this little grenade move that he's got.
Yeah.
And he's got probably one of the single most powerful moves in the game with his forward B.
Yeah.
And you can only use it 5 times per life. And there's literally a counter that you watch every time he uses it. It counts down.
Interesting.
And it's really cool. Like I think there's gonna be some really hype moments from Banjo mains.
Definitely.
You think he's tournament viable?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was watching. I was watching. There's this player. He's like I think he's 16 now. Like 16-year-old Japanese player named Zach Ray who plays Wolf, and he did a tournament where he played banjo, and the games he was playing were ridiculous, so ridiculous, and so cool too. Just like his mechanics,
Zach
like
Ray.
yeah, and Zach Ray is unbelievably good, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tom was saying with like his grenade is like he has this grenade that pops out and it like bounces and then you could pick it up again and throw it, and it's just like this whole tool that you can just work around of like playing keep away but also playing aggressive at the same time. It's a really cool
Alex.
play style. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that grenade have set knockback?
Set not back?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like at 0 or at 200, it knocks you the same way.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it.
I haven't looked into it that much, but it looks like the knockback, either it has set knockback or the knockback growth is so small that the setups off of that grenade
Are
from
consistent
0 to
every
100
time, yeah.
are so consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Just learn them and you can do them.
Yeah.
And yeah, Zach Ray is he's why I play Wolf. I watched so much of him playing Wolf that I was like, I got to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that I like Banjo as an addition to the game, not because I will play him and enjoy him, but I will watch players like Zach Ray play him, and I will enjoy watching that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
He's great.
mean, it's probably going to be something I assume you'll, at some point, will come across in either a competition or just play against. So
I'm sure.
it adds something new to the mix for both sides,
Mm-hmm.
Playing against him seems like it'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a lot of fun. Just watch out for that forward air. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That thing is unbelievable how
Mhm.
early it kills. Just like quonk, and you're just
Yeah.
gone. It's like he's got a couple of things. He's got a couple of things you just got to be really scared
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I think he's like a really balanced, really good addition to the game, and that's part of why I was saying I was so excited about that they're adding more characters, because other than Hero, Smash has a really good history, and maybe Bayonetta, and maybe Meta Knight. Okay, maybe
Right.
there's a couple.
Yeah, they have
Maybe
a
there's a
history of
couple.
doing what they do. Yeah.
But I mean, I never for a minute thought Bayonetta should have been banned or I mean nerfed, okay, but not banned. And Meta Knight probably could have been banned in Brawl. He was unbelievable. But
Is
yeah,
he
I
in?
mean,
He's in Ultimate, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everyone
but
is,
he's
yeah.
completely different character.
Yeah, he's very different. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, completely different. He was in 4 as well. He wasn't a problem in 4. It was just the way that he was tuned. It's just like it's always like we talk about artificial difficulty. You could always like make a character's health infinite or make their damage instant kill you, right? You can just move sliders. Meta Knight's sliders were just all in the wrong places. Like for how fast he was, he just hit too hard, killed too early, lived forever. He wasn't light enough. He hit too hard. He was too fast. All the sliders were wrong. So nerf it, fix it. He's okay. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. Banjo's great. I think Smash Ultimate is absolutely living up to its name, and I can't wait to get Sakurai
For sure.
That baby's in orbit!
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be interested to see how far they go. And it's just like it's exciting seeing the reveal. So I don't play Smash Ultimate that much. I don't have the character pass, although I'm interested in the characters. But it's still just hearing the new characters that get announced, and then like I get excited for each one of them, knowing that I'm probably not going to play them, but it's still cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it doesn't even matter what the character is. I always just like to see what they do differently with the game itself, because every character that they release completely changes the game. Like obviously, Hero has a completely different mechanic. Banjo with like the 5 he's the only one with a move that you can only do 5 times per stock that you have, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that is just...
They're getting very interesting with them.
Yeah, right. So I as much as I didn't have any idea with who, what's his name is, I don't know.
Terry Bogard.
Terry. I am curious as to how he plays. Maybe it's just like a really cool, weird kind of a thing, yeah.
They will add some mechanic for him. I'm sure they will, and it'll be pulled straight from King of Fighters. So I've not played it, but I'm sure it's going to be so... It'll be just like when they brought in Ryu or any of these other characters.
Right.
They'll bring in something that justifies why they needed to bring in a character from another publisher with a whole set of different mechanics.
Yeah, it's awesome how Smash has evolved from being this like, let's see all my favorite Nintendo characters beat each other up, to let's see like all my favorite characters beat each other up.
Yeah.
And it makes
there's no like the barriers have been broken down. There's nothing that's like out of bounds at this point, you know.
Unless you were in a battle royale, unless you were in PlayStation All Stars.
No one was playing Kirby Adventure on their Game Boy and thought, you know, at some point, Cloud is gonna Omni/Kirby into the fucking abyss.
Right.
Well, now it's possible.
Man. Mayhem.
But yeah, that's the only one. It's like if you were in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're not allowed in.
I still think that Smash Ultimate on April Fools next year should work with Sony in putting a PlayStation All-Stars skin as an update over Smash Ultimate.
Oh my god.
I don't understand why it hasn't happened. That like those characters got pulled in. Where's Kratos? Like where are these fucking PlayStation characters?
But yeah, at this point, like, come on, Sony. Just you're not gonna make a competitor.
It's unbelievable. There
Banjo's
are no
here.
Sony-owned IPs.
Yeah.
Microsoft's like, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's their whole attitude recently. Anyway, you know, it's they're what was the saying? They're walking the walk.
Yep, they're walking and talking.
They're walking and talking. They're doing these weird E3 shows with like, I don't know what they were doing. It's so funny too, because the best IP, like probably the single best character that ever came out of a Sony exclusive was Solid Snake, and he's in. So people don't even realize that Sony computer entertainment characters are not in, because you always look at Snake and you say, well, that's a Sony character.
No,
but he's not though.
Konami owns all the rights to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they announced a bunch of moving on from Smash. They announced a bunch of ports to the system, including Divinity: Original Sin 2 was announced and release day and date
with cross save.
With cross save with the Steam version of Original Sin 2, which is pretty awesome and apparently is incredibly simple to set up and use and just works, which is weird. It just works.
Wow, interesting.
Oh.
Great man once said it just works.
It does, Mayhem. Have you played it, Mayhem? Because it's like one of my favorite games of all time. It's so good.
I still got to give that a try. But Larian Studios, I met those guys at E3 because I was doing it with the Gamumentary guys, and they did a whole documentary on them. So we got to spend some time with them. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Doom 64 coming to Switch. Tokyo Mirage Sessions coming to Switch early next year, which I've been told is a mix between Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei. Is that how you pronounce it? It's like Persona.
Is that the series that's related to Shin Megami Tensei and Persona?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Some Star Wars games getting ported over, including Jedi Knight 2. I believe it's Jedi Knight 2 and what is the other one? Jedi Academy. Those are like, known to be some of the best lightsaber combat games that were created. So it's exciting to see those getting resurrected. I did play Jedi Knight 2 on the GameCube back when. And it is actually fucking awesome.
That is an amazing video game.
Yeah. And it was multiplayer too, so you could set up, I don't think I just played it against bots, but you can set up 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, or like free-for-alls. And it's just a bunch of fucking Jedis hacking at each other. I'm looking forward to those. I don't know, I hope they hold up. I'm sure they do, because it doesn't seem like they've been able to recapture that magic with the recent Star Wars games outside of, I know Force Unleashed is highly recommended, but in terms of multiplayer lightsaber combat, I think this kind of takes the cake.
Force Unleashed, some people beat it up in the reviews. Like, it got good reviews, but like I think it overall aggregated kind of like around the 80s, and it was kind of because people who played those Jedi Knight games, like, you either played Jedi Knight or you didn't, and then you played Force Unleashed, and you're either like, "Oh, this is a great game," or you're like, "Fuck, where's the next iteration of Jedi Knight?"
Right, yeah. It didn't feel like an evolution of that.
Yeah, it was unrelated. It was an unfair comparison.
Of course,
make.
yes.
But as the gamer, you can't blame the gamer who played Jedi Knight and was looking for something that built on it. I think Jedi Knight will hold up.
Yeah. I don't doubt that it will. I don't know if I'm looking at it with rose-tinted glasses because it's been quite a bit.
Yeah. And also, when I played it, I could press like all of my F keys to like spawn Rancors and like Stormtroopers and Skywalkers to make them fight whenever I got bored. So I don't think you're gonna be able to do that on the Switch.
No, probably not. I wasn't there. There was also like a command or a cheat where you can turn on like gore, or maybe it was just like you can turn on like limbs being cut off.
Yep, you could cut limbs. Yeah. You had to go into the. It was super simple. You just had to go into the. I can't remember the name of it, but the files, change some numbers, and then all of a sudden limbs come off. People get cut in half. It was so good.
And that's something we won't see in Star Wars games. I believe Disney does not like when that happens.
Yeah, I read
They
that.
really hate that. And Alex stopped laughing at me whenever I do anything mildly sociopathic.
Oh yeah, you're a killer.
What else? Xenoblade Chronicles is being remastered, which was a Wii game.
I still have not played a single Xenoblade.
I have not either, but Xenoblade Chronicles was well reviewed.
Are you really feeling it?
You talking to me?
He's talking about Xenoblade.
I can't help it. That's all I know about Xenoblade. It's just some.
I don't even get the reference.
It's from Smash Brothers. It's not from.
Shulk, right? Is the character?
I'm really feeling it, and then he's naked, and he's just in his little fucking.
And
trunks.
then he's naked.
He's in his little fucking boxer shorts.
Yeah.
Fucking Shulk.
Mayhem.
What a fucking character.
He's so cute. Let me see. Devil May Cry 2, the best Devil May Cry game, universally appraised
Yeah,
by
thank God for
critics and
this.
fans alike, as being ported to the Switch. Everybody was flipping their shit when that happened, so everyone be glad about that. More Assassin's Creed titles coming, including Rogue and Black Flag.
Black Flag. Actually, one of the best Assassin's Creeds, as opposed
That's
to
what I hear.
your Devil May Cry take, which was sarcastic.
They had to balance it out. What else here? What else here is interesting?
Creed, Assassin's Creed, the band,
Assassin. Oh my god, I would love that.
Can you take me higher?
Game Freak showed off a little bit of their new game, Little Town Hero, which actually comes out next month. Little downloadable. Game Freak, if you guys don't know, are the developers of Pokemon. Looks interesting. Looks rough.
I don't know if I caught the trailer for that.
Check it out, dude. Little Town Hero.
Little Town
coming out in
Hero.
October. It's a short. It's a smaller game. I think it's budget price. Maybe I think it's $24.99, maybe less. But it's something Game Freak has been, I know, excited about. Kind of break away from the Pokemon mold that they've been in. Although they've been getting a lot of shit for this latest iteration, which leads me to one of the last things I wanted to say out of this direct. Pokemon Sword and Shield will have a Curry Dex, ladies and gentlemen.
Weird thing.
Yes, let me see here. Let me read this press release here. When it comes to food, oh wait, no, sorry, that's a description of this. Anyway, fuck it. Curry Dex. Log your Pokemon, log your food. You can now log everything in Pokemon. I know that's what everyone was excited for. Mm-hmm. Everyone was upset that they weren't going to have, all the Pokemon. It was just going to be the new series. But hey, they're gonna get you with over 100 individual dishes on the path to becoming a curry master.
Very cool.
Look forward to that.
There was actually something from the direct that I put up that I'm excited for, which we spoke about the first time when it was announced, is Sonic Mario Olympics, or Mario Sonic Olympics. They showed some more gameplay of that. Dude, it looks so good. And
it's got a story mode now.
Full of mini games. You had the 100-meter dash it showed. Then there's the swimming. They have tennis, table tennis, skateboarding. Taekwondo. They're all over the place, man. They've got a lot. They better deliver with this. I
assume you've played the older ones.
Yes.
And
I love Olympics games. I don't know why. I'm a psycho.
So this is a weird question. Maybe I don't know if other people have the same question, but whenever I look at them, I always think that they might be kind of at least tangentially related to things like Mario Party, where they're kind of these collection of mini games.
In a way, yeah.
So is that kind of the same vibe, like going into it, just as somebody who knows nothing about it?
Yeah.
You're looking at a Mario Party.
I'd say so. Yeah, it's like a Mario Party, but without. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not, but it is.
It's less silly games and more like the games are actually themed around.
Yeah, the real games.
Right.
I think I might.
You got your long jump. You got your.
But it's just there's no board game aspect, and it's just purely can I beat my friends in these mini games that are given to me.
It's completely a party game then, not really a thing that you would ever just want to play on your own.
I mean, it has a story mode, so I'm curious to what that is. The story mode in Mario Tennis Aces was good. I didn't mind that. I thought it was pretty cool. The challenges were different. It was definitely a different experience than playing with your friends. But I mean, look at this trailer. Come on, get the fuck out of here. Shot put, equestrian. That was a horse jumping. Taekwondo. You beat. Soccer is back. Like hello, goodbye. That was European handball, rock climbing, tennis, gymnastics, surfing, boating, fucking swimming, ping pong. I mean, come on. What is that? Dude, it's crazy. I don't know what this is, but I guess you could play in like the old NES kind of graphics mode, which is odd and weird.
Yeah, that means a lot. Really cool. Actually, this resonates with me pretty hard right here.
I like that a lot.
Yes. So do I. It's very cool.
Ski shooting.
It's definitely interesting. But I'm curious as to includes a story mode. I'm definitely picking this one up for sure, and I hope that we could play this on like a community night if anyone else picks it up. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how many people you could play with online. I'm sure Mike and I will be knocking heads in it, and
This will be an entire
excited.
Throwdown Thursday. Will be dedicated to a league of it.
for sure.
And we will have Jim Carrey playing as Dr. Robotnik on that
Absolutely.
Thursday.
Yeah,
so-
I'm gonna
I
try to
know
get the
Jim.
Jim
Jim
Carrey
promised.
skin. I don't want the original Dr. Robotnik. I want the new and improved one.
No, Jim Carrey himself will be joining us. Think bigger.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, I'll call him up. Jim, we're
Man,
we're playing
listen,
Olympics.
Don't tell Jim what he can't do, Alex. All right, I'm just telling you what he can do.
Oh wow, I totally forgot about this. Something I wanted to bring up as well from the direct. Sequel to the cult hit Deadly Premonition is on the way.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought of you when I went, please.
From
That's a
developer.
big deal to a lot of people.
It is for some reason. It's from developer Swery and God, what the fuck is the name of his development studio? I don't even remember. God damn it! I played Deadly Premonition on 360. That game's fucking bad. I don't understand why.
See you later,
I mean,
man.
it has this
Thanks
like
for hanging out.
cult following. See you later, man. It has this cult following, but it.
People love it. I thought it was a good game.
No, it's not. It people
Please
love
tell
it
me about
because
why
of
it
how
sucks.
bad it is.
That's a whole.
He's
it's a
not a
whole
good
thing.
developer. He's not like
It's a
it's
whole
where
thing,
he.
Tom.
I don't think he's a good director. The games he makes. I played Deadly Premonition. I played Dark Dreams Don't Die D4. That it was like one of the Xbox One launch titles. Both of them are bad. Neither of them are good games by any means, any stretch of the imagination, any which way you want to spin it. They're bad games. I don't understand this trend. I don't know if it's a trend. Trend may not be the right word, and I know people are gonna shit on me for this.
I
But-
remember the marketing. I remember the pictures.
Yeah, the game fucking sucked, and it wasn't finished. I guess it sold too poorly or something. What's going on,
What's
Bastion?
up, Bastion?
But I don't. This game is so bad it's good. Like
Is that what it is?
fucking.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what people. That's how people feel about it, and it's like so Twin Peaks inspired. You know, it's like if you want a Twin Peaks inspired game, play Alan Wake. This game is just an absolute fucking mess. Like everything from the combat to the acting to the story to the flow of the game is just not. It's not good. I don't understand why people get attached to these games that are like so bad that they're like, this must be fucking good. This has to be good. I gotta play this.
Twin Peaks was good because it was good. It defined good at the time.
Right. I mean, and Twin Peaks has that layer of cheesy on it. That like, I don't know if it's cheesy, but there's like some intentional strangeness to
Yeah,
Twin Peaks.
but,
You
like-
know, everything from the music to the acting. You're like, something's off here. And Swery took that and was like, what if I just fucking shit on
Made
that
it
and then
shitty.
put it into a game and just fucking slapped a label on it and sold it to people. Holy shit. Anyway, they re-released it on
Peggy
Switch as Deadly Premonition Origin, so you can play Deadly Premonition on your Switch today, as well as they announced the sequel, Deadly Premonition 2. Swery is involved, but his studio is not developing it. Being developed by
Sounds like it might be a good game.
oh, I doubt it.
Sounds like it might be a good game.
I doubt it. I don't know. It's a game that shouldn't exist,
But it does.
but it does for some reason. It's being developed by Axis. That's it.
What
I
about
don't
the
know, man.
Allies? What are they making?
Oh, I'm sorry. Axis published the is published Origins. Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, is being developed by Toybox.
Later, Shogun. Thanks for hanging out.
Later,
A
man.
Blessing in
Thanks for saying
Disguise.
that, Shogun.
AKA, we're not making Deadly Premonition 2.
Anyway, Bastion, sorry, this Deadly Premonition is not what you're seeing on the screen here. What you're seeing is Animal Crossing, which is actually a good game. Anyway, let's.
Deadly Premonition. I mean, you see it.
I kind of want to
He's
play it on
looking at that
stream,
tree.
but I'm not in a rush. We'll see. One day.
What,
Anyway,
Animal
moving
Crossing?
on. Moving on. Trevor, what's going on, man? Thank you for the sub.
Yo,
Really appreciate it.
Trevor, thank you.
Um,
You're the man.
You are. I love you.
Sup,
kiss you.
dog.
Moving on from the direct. Let me see here. What do we got here? Let's go to this one here. Ikumi Nakamura, who you might remember from E3 if you watch Bethesda's E3 conference.
You mean the only good thing at the E3?
The only good thing from
conference?
Bethesda's E3 conference was this adorable creative director from Tango Gameworks. She came out to talk about Ghostwire Tokyo. If you're not familiar with Tango Gameworks, it's Shinji Mikami's studio. He's one of the masterminds behind the Resident Evil series, and Tango has developed Evil Within. Was basically his next baby. Kumi Nakamura has been with them for a while, serving as creative director on Resident Evil, and sorry, she might not have been creative director of Resident Evil, but I know she was for Ghostwire Tokyo and Evil Within. But she has actually, yeah, there you go. That's the meme picture that everyone was. Oh no, it's not. It was her going like.
It's a little bit more like but
seeing that live was so good. It was like the best part of E3 for me.
Yeah.
It was.
It really was. So anyway, she announced her departure from Tango Gameworks, which is a little strange. So it's not unheard of for creative directors to depart projects before they go gold, before they release. It's not unheard of for senior level people to after the vision is in place to pass the torch to some junior level people to see it through. But we don't know much about Ghostwire Tokyo, and it's a ways off from release. Presumably it's a 2020 game, probably late 2020, but we don't really know what it is. Normally you hear about creative directors leaving when games are maybe a handful of months out from release. But
less than a year. Usually they'll
less than a year.
Less than a year.
So she's departed rather early, seemingly in a way that didn't, it was mutual respect in that regard. Tango Gameworks was reached out to. It is hard to tell. Tango was reached out to, and they were, we wish her the best of luck, yada yada yada. She didn't, there was no like vitriol in her tweet, but there was something in her tweet. At the end of the tweet, she said, if you'd like to work with me, this is, send me an email. This is my email, which makes it seem like she wasn't departing Tango to pursue a passion project or to take time off and reorient and then get back into it. It seems like from her saying that maybe it was sort of a surprise or something that she wasn't wanting or prepared for. But who knows? I mean, there's a lot of professionalism and secrecy in that culture surrounding stuff like this. So it's hard to gauge. And we're not really sure if this like, what does this mean for Ghostwire? Which kind of, was one of the more exciting things shown off at the Bethesda conference at E3. So, hopefully it doesn't negatively affect the game, and hopefully she finds something after this. But I'm curious what happened here.
It's impossible to try to make any sort of conclusion, to draw a conclusion from this, because Ikumi herself, right? You hit the nail on the head when you said, okay, we've got to try to read through the professionalism. We've got to read through the culture gap, which is unfathomable.
Right. And
then we've got to also read through just the way that she's trying to present herself professionally.
Yeah.
It's there's so much at play here. And then you hardly see a game actually launch with the creative director still sitting in that seat.
Yeah,
it's not.
Right.
For a long while, it was this thing where it's like, oh, the creative director left, the game's in trouble. But then all of a sudden, you start to realize that pretty much the creative director always leaves about a year out from the game launching.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be like with every major release. So
yeah, they move on to the next thing. Yeah,
really hard to tell. I can't imagine any reason why they would have. First of all, I don't know a goddamn thing about the company or.
Well, it was kind of seen as like, so her coming out, she wasn't really a public facing figure. Her coming out at the Bethesda conference instead, like not even alongside Shinji Mikami. It was just her. She was coming out and showed off, announced Ghostwire Tokyo and explained what their new game is. And to some, it was kind of seen as maybe a passing of the torch to her. So that makes this doubly surprising that she has now departed the company after having been with Shinji Mikami for so long.
Yeah.
And worked with him so closely on these incredible games that, like, yeah, it's just like, man, I'm just left scratching my head. Like, what happened? And it's sad. It really is, because
It could.
yeah,
I mean, it might not
I feel like they were a great team.
Maybe it's what they wanted. Maybe it's we have such
Could
little
be.
information.
It could.
And honestly, if this had happened, if she hadn't walked out on that stage at E3,
This wouldn't be a story.
and everything else
Yeah.
happened the same way, nobody
Yeah.
would even know. But
Right.
like, she just out of nowhere dropped into the public consciousness, and we all just decided that we loved her. And how could
Yeah.
you not? And you're like, yeah, I want you to make my video game. I think you do a good job. You seem like you're full of joy. You know?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, exactly.
So it's weird, but like I mean, clearly we'll keep an eye on this, but maybe it's a good thing, because not only will we keep an eye on whatever Shinji Mikami is doing, but we will also be keeping a very close eye on whatever Ikumi Nakamura is doing.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we've got another game celebrity, and we all want to see what the next thing she does is.
Definitely. Yeah.
So,
well, I hope
maybe
that's
the
not too
silver
far
lining.
off. Definitely. Yeah. Wish her the best of luck, and hopefully she finds some work soon, and we get to hear about what she's working on. But
Or she won't.
or she won't, and then I don't know. She'll be homeless.
Sun could explode, asteroid into the Earth, dinosaurs come back. They're smart now. They take over. Got lasers.
That's
and-
what
a
happens.
lot of stuff could happen.
That's what
That
happens. Dinosaurs come back and they're smart now and they take over.
They have lasers. You missed that part.
Okay.
What else? Apple Arcade. Apple had an event today. They announced a little more details on their Apple Arcade service that they are launching. They announced pricing. Well, let me talk a little bit about what Apple Arcade is. It is a subscription-based service for, I believe it's iOS and iPad, or iPad OS is what they're calling it now. Subscription-based service in the same vein as EA Access, Xbox Games Pass, etc. The whole draw to it is that these games are exclusive and premiering nowhere else aside from one of them. But they released a list of games, and they have a pretty impressive lineup, or at least a pretty impressive lineup of developers working for them and releasing things. We don't know whether these games are going to be good or not, but just some of the games that have been coming out. They announced it's going to be $4.99 a month, as you can see. But you have games from Square Enix. They have a game coming out called Various Daylife, which is a RPG from the creators of Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler. We have a new Shantae called Shantae and the Seven Sirens. A new Rayman game from Ubisoft called Rayman Mini. Exit the Gungeon from Devolver Digital. Sayonara Wild Hearts from Annapurna Interactive, which is one that's turning heads. It's a rhythm-based game, and that's the one that's actually not exclusive. It's also launching on Switch and I believe Steam. There's a new Frogger from Konami.
I mean,
Frogger in Toy Town. And Capcom also has a game coming out that they're releasing called Shinsekai, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Shinsekai Into the Depths. And these are just a few that I picked out, ones that kind of names that stood out to me that I would, that people would recognize, and kind of, I think, names that would turn heads.
Yeah, I
did.
didn't know that Devolver Digital was making a sequel to Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, man, exclusive to Apple Arcade.
exclusive? That's so.
How great is that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this all plays into that bigger conversation of exclusivity, and it makes so much sense from a business perspective that you would, especially if you're trying to launch a new platform, you've got to go after exclusives. I don't fault
Yeah.
a minute for what they do. That's the right way to approach the business. If you've got the money to make the investment and you think that there's an ROI, you do this.
Yeah, of course.
But when you look at the hobby, when you look at gaming, it's very clear to see that that's not good for the direction that we want to go in as gamers. It's not good for the consumer. So right now we've got these forces where you've got Microsoft and Nintendo constantly flaunting this this it's almost like sexual tension in a new relationship. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna let you all play Nintendo games on Xboxes, and you're gonna get Xbox achievements in your Nintendo games, and everybody's like, oh, give us that, we want it, take our money. But and then you've got Apple and you've got Epic, who are like, but seriously, you just want to play this game. Who doesn't? Do you guys want to play Borderlands 3? Give me $60.
Yeah.
And that grand, beautiful vision of the future kind of pales in comparison to the immediacy of the need to get that thing that you want as a consumer. And
yeah.
It's really tough to watch, and it kind of sucks, but it's interesting too. And nobody's right or wrong.
And it remains to be seen if these will remain exclusive indefinitely, or maybe it's a year, maybe it's 6 months, maybe they'll be rotated off Apple Arcade and then come to other platforms. It seems like it's going to be a revolving service once again, much like EA. Well, EA Access isn't like that, but much like Game Pass. But they are approaching it in an interesting way, in that they're enticing new, well-known, proven developers to create exclusive experiences tailored for that platform. They're not going after Epic and saying, hey, we want Fortnite exclusive on iPhones. We want, they want experiences you cannot get anywhere else, you will not find anywhere else, and that will work here to the strengths of the platform. So I do got to hand it to them for actually doing it right if they're going to do it. It's nice to see that. So I'm a little bummed. I don't have an iPhone, so I won't be able to take advantage of this.
Yep.
But I would love to play Various Day Life. I thought Octopath Traveler was incredible.
Yep.
But why are these things better on iPhone than they would be on another platform?
Because Tim Cook signed a check for them.
No. You were saying that you were saying earlier that like these things are being designed for the ground up.
Well, they're being developed exclusive. Like most of these games, save for Sayonara Wild Hearts, are being developed exclusively for the iPhone. So they're not targeting multiple platforms. They know what what specs. iPhone is a closed ecosystem. It's also not like Android, where you have phones from different manufacturers at all different specs. They know what specs that they have to target, and they know what they can work with in the phone, and they know the technology that they have, and they could make something that really takes advantage of that.
So the reason that I bring the question up is because so recently getting into VR, I feel like things that are made for VR are always better than ports.
Right.
You take a flat game, make it for VR, because you make something for the specific capabilities of the platform. What makes it unique? You play to those strengths. I always look at a cell phone as the lowest common denominator as a gaming platform, because you don't have a controller. So
yeah,
you tap the screen. So no matter whether or not you build it from the ground up, I feel like the game would have actually been better if you built it for the PC and then you dial back a shit version for the phone, but there's at least a good version on the PC. So playing devil's advocate here, maybe the opposite could be true, that these games would have been, whatever they are, could have been better if there was another way to experience it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
deal with this interface.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that if you had put them on another platform, it might be a better experience, but knowing what they're working with up front, knowing what their control scheme is going to be,
they'll be better than they would have been on this ecosystem. They would have been. They'll be better.
You develop with a game with touchscreen in mind, rather than you port something to a touchscreen. Yes. Ideally, it's gonna be more intuitive, and the user is not going to get frustrated by the controlling experience.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That being said, they can also, controllers for mobile phones, Bluetooth controller. You can connect your Xbox controller to your mobile phone. You can connect your PS4 controller. So these developers, if these games are being planned to be released elsewhere in the future, you can bet that there's going to be controller support, and they could they could, if you have a controller, your Bluetooth controller, connect it to your phone, it'll work. Done. That's another way to play the game. It remains to be seen, but the mobile market is undeniably massive, and
scooping up exclusives.
they would be
is
stupid to not. What was that?
And scooping up exclusives is inevitable. If you have the money and you want to promote your platform, it's stupid not to.
Apple's making the biggest push towards like real games being and I don't mean to offend any other games on mobile, but just like they're making a push to bringing video game experiences to the mobile platform that aren't what you would typically expect. And surprisingly, they're doing it before anybody else has. I don't, like we've had developers put out those games. Like, we've had games like as far back as like Infinity Blade on the like iPhone 3 or whatever it was when that first came out. But like, you have those games that are kind of few and far between coming out for the phones. But this is them being like, we are paying for development of these games, or paying for exclusivity of these games. We want to curate a list of games that is rotating for you every month or every few months, and they're going to be great gaming experiences rather than we want you to on your commute open up Candy Crush and match a few things together, and that's gaming on your phone. They want to change how people are looking at that.
And it's doable now too. The power
totally
is there.
Yeah.
Absolutely there. You can do
I mean, they announced it alongside the iPhone 11, which is like so. We'll see where it goes. I have no doubt that it's going to be a massive success, just like literally everything they do, because people will likely blindly subscribe to it and then forget about it. But because it's at that $4.99 price point, it's at that like I can do this in addition. It's not the I should choose one or the other. I should choose this or Xbox Games Pass. It's like, oh, $5? What's that? Whatever. Same reason or same idea behind like the Nintendo Online service is $19.99. It's not $60 a month, $60 a year as PSN and Xbox Live. They know people are already inundated with all these subscription services. So like, how can we fit into their lives? I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what kind of must-play experiences come out on the iPhone, and if it's something that like would really make gamers feel like, oh, I want an iPhone as my phone now because there are my favorite developers making these games for it.
It can happen.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look up the end of Moore's law right now, because I mean,
like everything that can go wrong will go wrong. That thing?
No, Moore's law. Every 2 years, the ability of a processor basically shrinks by half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like the size of the ability goes down by half. Like it's coming up. We're actually coming up on it. It's probably, I think it's like within the next decade or so that we'll hit the point where we can't make processors any smaller.
Yes. Yeah.
But
we're very close to that.
That's another decade. Like there's still so much to gain.
Yeah.
Like that's like putting a 1080 Ti into a fucking phone. Like that's probably within the capability of
we'll see. I mean, we're going to be, once we hit that, we're going to be innovating elsewhere. John Carmack talks about that, Alex, on the Joe Rogan podcast. He actually talks about that.
Oh my God.
Did you guys
watch that?
No, I didn't.
I listened to it.
I watched that whole fucking Joe Rogan experience.
I think I was watching it on my drive upstate, which was like 4 hours, or I was listening to it rather. I think I missed like the last half hour. It's really good.
It's so good. What a Renaissance man. What a fucking my God, someone such
he makes a bold statement on the state of the working conditions in the industry.
Yeah,
that I was like, oh, you're gonna get shit for that. Yeah. But it was I think he makes a point. He makes a good point that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
His frame of reference is not like ours. It's not like
of course, exactly.
That's when I heard what he said, I was like, he's from a different.
But it makes sense. He basically is like, if you're doing good work, they're not going to fire you. That's it. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's how I approach work. Like, I'm doing good work, so like, and I know I'm doing good work, so I know my value, and I'm not afraid for my job security. But like, we don't know. It seems to be, well, like the stories we're reading just seems to say the exact opposite.
Yeah, but he is right when he says that. Like,
Of
listen,
course.
the guy who comes in, puts in 8 hours a day, and he actually contributes to the vision. Nobody's fucking firing him.
Right.
Nobody's firing that guy. That's not how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the real world. It's somebody come in, they could put in 14 hours a day, and if they're just a workhorse and somebody's putting in 16 hours a day, he's gonna get fired before the 8 hour a day guy gets fired, because when you look at the total contribution, just the way it works.
Yeah, and that's like
Who's
that's
helping
business,
us?
you know?
Who's lifting? That's all it is. Who's lifting?
That
Right.
baby's in orbit.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I digress. I suggest if you're interested in games, you should take a look at that. John Carmack's a fucking messiah in the world of games, and he's a very interesting man, incredibly well spoken. Like he's fascinating to listen to, and not even just in terms of his game development experiences. He talks about his whole life and his other hobbies and everything. It's very good.
Yeah, he's an MMA champ, and he traveled to Japan to fucking fight the people in the dojo. Where what was it? What was his?
I forget the name of the city.
Well, I was trying to remember the name of the martial art that he practiced. It was
Taekwondo. No, it's not.
it's not Taekwondo. Judo. Is it judo?
Judo. That was it. Judo, yeah.
He went to the homeland of judo, and he was talking about how he was being tutored by MMA champions, and he always felt like when he was fighting them, there was always an opportunity that if he just did this one thing, he could like get a pin. But then he went to the homeland. He was like, "Oh, this looks like a fucking shitty Kmart." But then he goes in and he fights the guy there, and he's like, "There are no options. I just lose. I lose always.
Yeah.
I lose unequivocally. I lose."
Was he? Oh my god! And then like it was so funny, just like him when Joe Rogan was like talking about like his ideas for how you can make martial arts VR experiences.
He was
like
so
John
gracious.
Carmack was like, "Yeah, that could work." You could tell John Carmack's like, "What?" No.
He never said that. He always segued off. He always was like, "Well, you know what's interesting? Let's talk about this." Like Joe Rogan was just saying the dumbest shit that any human being has ever said to and like when talking on a subject matter that the other person's an expert, he's just like way out of his weight class and making it obvious. And John Carmack is just being like, "Well, you know what's cool about what you just said?"
Oh, fucking master at deflecting. Like fucking master at that. He probably has had people. I mean, I think he talks about that. He's had people his whole life like bringing these ideas to him, and this dude's a genius. Like,
yeah, he is.
He's like, I mean, he's super down to earth, and he seems very humble as far as I could tell from what I've read about him. But like, he's probably had people coming to him with ideas his whole life that he's just like, he's good at changing the subject. And Joe Rogan is not a bad interviewer. I like his interviews, but in this one, I was like, man, just stop. I want to hear him talk. You stop.
But it honestly made his guest look even better, and like he's just so, and he says it a couple times like throughout the interview in different points. He's just like, I have in my life learned to accept the fact that I do not think about things the way that other people do, and I do not see the world the way other people do, and I will not attempt to play devil's advocate because I can only argue from my perspective. It's not really worth it to try to go outside of it. It's like, this is just the way I see things, and tell me I'm an idiot if you want, but otherwise you could just propose to me that it makes sense to have a VR MMA dummy that punches people in the face when they're trying to fucking let this idea go, Joe. Just stop bringing it out.
Why, like when Joe Rogan said that, I was like, well, then why are you wearing a headset? I don't understand why you need the VR headset if you're gonna make a robot.
It's right there in front of you, and it's punching you. Like, it's punching you. You can't see it. And it's gonna knock your VR head. Like, there's so much wrong with it. Like you know, in John Carmack's mind, he just started like processing all of the different things, and there was just like a system crash, and then it would just reboot it on. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. I feel like, and I don't have a specific example, but I feel like I remember listening to it, and I was like, John Carmack just said that ideas like that were bad, and then you just proposed that idea like right afterwards. I was like, what? What are you doing?
And he wasn't a dick about it. He couldn't be.
No,
it's not in his nature. He's just like, he
seems so nice. Like, I just want to talk to him for hours.
But he clearly respects the shit out of Joe Rogan too, because Joe Rogan has done amazing work when you just talk about like the level of discourse that generally appears on his show. It's the whole reason that John Carmack was there in the first place. Clearly, he respects Joe. The last thing he wants to do is undermine.
Yeah.
Hey, this is KWD. Welcome.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
11:30. We've been going for my Audacity's at 3.5 hours. I think this is the longest show we've ever done.
Yeah, we're at 3.5.
Well, it's not our fault that so much happened this week.
No, I know. It's
The
good.
Joe Rogan experience with fucking John Carmack.
Yeah.
Come on.
Seriously, anybody still watching, I do recommend you give that a listen. It's good background noise, but also good
It's so
to like
inspiring.
literally I was able to sit down and focus. Well, granted I was driving the whole time, but like focusing on it the whole time, I remained interested. I didn't really tune out.
Yeah, he is such an interesting character. I didn't know he was that impressive as a person. Like, wow.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Those of you guys still here, thank you for continuing the roll on September to the people who sub today. And we will be back. I think we're going to be doing a Jackbox tomorrow. Is that right, Alex? Rather than Thursday?
Yeah.
And
We
then
will be doing DMT once we hit 1,000 concurrent viewers.
and
All three of us will do DMT.
That'll be a
simultaneously.
very
Fuck it, dude. 25. I'll do it at 25. If we can hit
We
25
hit
viewers
25 viewers before, Mike.
without a raid. 25 without a raid. So we'll be back tomorrow with Jackbox. Thursday, Alex is gonna be streaming Borderlands. And then we'll be back Sunday. We were talking about a community play day, so we'll get some games going with you guys.
Friday, I'll probably also stream Borderlands as well.
Yeah.
Or
This channel's gonna be bumping.
Yeah, if not, probably World of Warcraft. I don't know. I'll figure it out. You know, I'm always tasty like that.
And I'm gonna
Come by,
stream as well.
up to us. Donate every single penny in your bank account. It's fine. You can afford it. Don't worry about it.
Who needs money when you've got Alex?
Exactly.
Hi.
Alex needs money.
Yeah. True.
Look at him.
That's me needing money. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, thank you for the subs. We got no follows, but hey, you know what? If you've been lurking this whole time, why not drop a follow? You know.
Yeah, drop an F-bomb
That
on
works.
us.
Drop an F-bomb. Join our Discord. Keep the conversation going. We talk about a lot of important stuff in there.
Yes.
You don't want to miss out on it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out. And we'll see you on the juice.
We'll see you on the juice.
We'll see you on the juice. Tim, you
Raid.
suck.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Tom, we have 6. Do we have no one's? Should we raid?
No. They go to sleep.
Okay. All right. See you later.